Hello and welcome back to the channel. It is I, StrawHatLucas, and this is a very special live episode of Rambling Addiction. If you couldn't tell by me messing up the intro already. Not my usual fanfare, I know, but I wanted to do something special this week, and I'm joined today by two lovely, lovely people that I cherish very, very much, and of course, my best friend in the whole wide world, vexyz, the lurking legend, the head cook of the Eternal Dawn. How you doing today, Vex?
What's good, y'all? It's your boy vexyz, the lurking legend. Y'all can just call me Vex. I'm stoked. I'm hyped. I cannot wait to get into stuff. Always blast being brought over on the StrawHatLucas channel. I love being on Rambling Addiction. I cannot wait.
And new to the channel, our good man Reviews with Bro, who is a music reviewer here on YouTube and just dropped an amazing video on Dream Theater's new album that I suggest you go check out right after the live stream. How are you doing today, bro?
I am so glad to be here. Thanks for asking. I've been yeah, it's great to be on a stream with you guys. You guys are watching your guys' channel. It's been kind of what inspired me to make my own channel and do my own content.
Oh, my little
thanks
heart.
for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure, my man. It really is. And I couldn't think of anyone else better besides Vex to go over and into this topic tonight. And to explain the idea of the stream to you, my lovely, lovely audience, we will be ranking our favorite anime openings, but also discussing what makes an anime opening good, right? Like what makes it iconic? What defines an anime opening? Before we get into the top 10 list, though, we do have some general discussion to kind of get into right now. So I'm going to ask you guys straight out the gate, what factors do you guys think make an anime opening hit you? Like when you first see an anime opening, right? What is it about that anime opening that catches you that make you go, oh, I need to watch and listen?
I'll go first if that's cool. I typically judge all music by three main criteria, and then I add two more, kind of focal points whenever it comes to specifically an anime opening or ending or something like that. So I like the first major three that I judge all music by is what talent or skill goes into writing and executing and performing the actual track. And then I also think about like what's the message like that I pull from it, and possibly like the whole VH1 behind the music, like what's the message the artist intends, and then does it sound good? Like is it a bop? And so none of those things are mutually exclusive to each other. And then whenever you're thinking about an anime opening or ending, like obviously there's also the visuals. And then, there's just like the general community hype about it. There's a lot of music that gets a lot of hype, like, top 40 and pop and stuff like that. But like, it's like a different kind of vibe, I feel like, with an anime, like OST. So that's my main 5 points. And every song that I'll be listing off on my mentions today, it's passed through each of those filters.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's I definitely obviously if it sounds good and it's something I can bob my head to or listen to at the gym or waiting at the airport or something, but it also has to in a sense kind of capture the spirit of the show I'm watching. And
Yes.
You'll find a lot of my honorable mentions and just my straight up top 10 do that and capture the show. I honestly, things, especially in some of the contemporary anime openings, things can move a little too fast for my eyes to follow.
Yeah.
So I'm not as much of a visual person in that aspect. But I do think the visual component can play a big part. And if it's kind of like choppy or just like a bunch of still pictures going after one after another, I'm most likely not going to be vibing with it as much.
Yeah, if it's a montage, I'm not locked in as much. Like even if the song is good, it's not impacting me as much if I'm just seeing a bunch of pictures of the characters on screen, like at a beach or something like that, which is a very go-to move for anime opening and outros. Is like, it's a beach episode. Yeah, it's for me too. Like if it has that earworm quality, right? One of my honorable mentions, which we'll get more into later, is Rock the Dragon from Dragon Ball Z, the English dub of it. Dragon, Rock the Dragon. Yeah, because, and it's not that it's a good song, like composition wise or anything like that. It's just an earworm. It gets stuck in your head. And I think that that's a big component to what factors into making an anime intro iconic, right? Because if it can get stuck in your head to the point where you're at work, being like Imanimo, like, then you know that,
Oh my goodness.
it's a good intro.
Yeah, I like to try to, like I mentioned, the 5 points that I judge like these types of things by. I like to try to slice the pie equally so that each of the fifths are weighted similarly, but there are instances, like you said, like with the dragon, like I feel like that I am really only focusing on the hype and the fact that it is a bop, so those like, two slices of the pie take up like half of the equation in that instance. And so I think there's like something magical there where like I'm somebody who likes to calculate everything and overanalyze, and like so that's why I feel so at home here on Rambling Addiction, right? But that is like an anomaly. And so when a track is able to completely gum up the works like that, there's something special about it,
Yeah. And seeing like the visuals of Goku going like Super Saiyan and like just like flash cuts of like just different moments from there, like it gets you hype. It makes you like just makes you So should we move on then, gentlemen? We have a lot to get through this stream. Should we move on to the first pick of the night, which is the best overall soundtrack for an anime? To the audience, to differentiate a sound, because we will be doing scores as well. A soundtrack is usually popular music that is used within a show to help the narrative or something of that effect. Think Scott Pilgrim versus the World. While yes, there are in-universe songs in that movie, they do use a lot of music from pop culture, or in that case, niche indie, areas. To give an example, I will just give my pick for best soundtrack, and that is FLCL. Specifically,
I knew it.
Yeah, specifically the first season, because they have done more seasons now. But yeah, you can't beat The Pillows, Runner's High, and it's amazing. Like I will never forget being 12 years old and watching that first episode and hearing, Naoto's looking up at Haruku, and you can just hear the little Buster starting in the background, and then right after that scene, it goes into Right on Shooting Star, and it's just it's so good, man. You can't beat that. In the way that the sound waves, they made it like match up with the bass line and guitar riff for the song, like it's. Even though it's bare bones visual, it still just hits so well. And I think that even in, I've watched a little bit of Alternative, I believe it was, because I haven't really gotten into the sequels, but they chose to use The Pillows again for the sequel soundtracks, and it just epic move.
Yeah, I completely agree. It is iconic. It's like I cannot sum it up in even like 1,000 words. It would take so much more than that. But yeah, it's the epitome. It was what I was gonna list, so I'll have to defer to my backup. But yeah, excellent choice.
No, thank you. So bro, what was your pick for best soundtrack?
I had also picked Foodie Cootie but also for everything that you just said, but also it's one of the few soundtracks that I've actually gone and tried to learn on guitar.
Same.
Rising Shooting Star is such a fun riff to play, and I can just keep doing that, boom, just over and over and over and over and over. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. I love also like within like Japanese like post-punk music like that, they find just like these interesting ways to find melodies and things like that I'm not going to hear in majority, if not all, of like American Western music.
Yeah, One of my favorite, just because as a fellow guitar player, one of my favorite things, like when I'm just like lounging, like maybe watching some anime or watching TV with my wife and I'm just picking a little bit, one of my favorite riffs to play is that, because I usually just pick on an acoustic, is Brand New Love Song, the dun, I can't whistle to pick up my auto mic, the dun 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 dun. Like it's so good. It's such a like different kind of chord structure than what we would use in Western music. Like
Exactly.
It just, there's something about it. And I've tried so many times to translate the lyrics. Shout out Kuso Land Theories, because I sent him my last translation of the lyrics of that. And he's like, you almost got this like spot on. So Vex, you seem to have a different choice than me and Bro. What are you thinking for best soundtrack?
I have the same choice, but
yes.
I came prepared because I know you, Lucas. I know you very well. I've known you for well over a year and a half now, and I knew this was going to be something that you mentioned. There's also I had two backups ready, which would be like Cowboy Bebop, with seatbelts and stuff like that. There, and like the Steve Conte work that was featured. It's iconic. It's stuff that I listen to very, very, very regularly. But I would probably put on that same level something that is a little bit of a sleeper, which some of my entries are going to be a little bit more personalized to my tastes and my experience, because I don't hear as many people talking about this one by a mile. But it is the OST for Ergo Proxy, which is an insane collection of just like a lot of like lethargic like 90s like New York kind of poppy like it's just such an ensemble. Like the outro, if you saw it on TV back in the day, was literally like Paranoid Android by Radiohead.
Yeah.
and they have like a full collection of a bunch of other songs that they also featured, and it was just like stuff that was really iconic at the time. And I'm like, how did they get like this many like this must have cost a fortune. And if you watch the actual like DVD or like if you check it out online and stuff like that, it won't have the same actual soundtrack as far as like they had different outros for every single song, or for every single episode it had a different song. And it was just such a cool, it was amazing getting like the soundtrack of that. And just I remember I had a burnt CD with all of them, and it was such a vibe.
Yeah, I have to shout out real quick. As soon as we said Kuso Land's like name on this stream, he showed up. Shout out Kuso. But no, Kuso? When I was doing like I don't want to say research, but you know what I mean, like when I was going through everything for the stream tonight, I listened to the Ergo Proxy intro and then the outro, and Jasmine, my wife, man, she comes running from the kitchen and is like, "Is that Radiohead?" I was like, "Yeah." Like
yeah, the intro is also just like, yeah, the intro is crazy as well, because like you were mentioning how it's like it's stuff that is a little bit of a departure from what you would get in a lot of like our normal introduction, or our normal like litmus test for like what pop is around here, and just like rock and alt rock and stuff. Like this like it's typically something really different when you look at like an anime intro, like, and like just J-rock and J-pop and stuff like that. It's just structured a little bit less orthodox, and it's crazy to me because the song Kiri by Monorail is so it literally feels like actual 90s rock, and it, like here, like from like here in the States or something like that. It blows my mind, and I would have put it on my list today if there wasn't so much other greatness that I wanted to feature.
Yeah, that was hard. I have to ask, was that hard for you guys too? It was so hard for me to nail. Like the last two spots, like 9 and 10, were the hardest for me.
They were relatively easy for me. It was 1 through 8 that were so hard for me because I had to trim so much fat from the list I had initially created, and I felt like I was choosing who my favorite child was. Like it was really tough.
It was, instead of Sophie's choice, it was Bro's choice.
Oh my god. I like, not to toot my own horn or anything like this, but I might be the perfect guest for this stream today because this is something I've thought about extensively. So for me, I basically already had my list formulated, and I just had to like go through and double check because there have been some really new, like some really goated new additions to like the whole pantheon. But I've kind of had this figured out for like about 2 years now since I like started to get really back into anime.
Yeah. Whew. So me and bro said Fulikuri. You said Ergo Proxy, which goated choice. Like I haven't watched the whole anime. I'll admit that. I've only seen I think the first 3 episodes. And I'll be honest, I was watching it at work and something really spicy happened. I was like, this is something I need to like sit down and watch. Let's move on then to best overall score for an anime. I'm not gonna go first for this because I picked everybody's. Okay, yeah, go ahead, bro.
I chose Hunter x Hunter, the 2011 version of the show.
Respectful.
Because it wasn't just how great every single OST and how perfect for each moment that it came on for what was going on, but it was also at times in the show where they didn't have an OST going that made everything so impactful. So it was also the silence in between.
Yes. The sound design on Hunter x Hunter 2011 was amazing, phenomenal. And I won't even lie, there were so many times where I just heard in the background that wahoo, and like
that
tears.
And sometimes I wish that during like some of the little moments of life where I'm just chilling doing work, that I had someone behind me doing the little the drum beat that they would always have.
Yeah.
I forget the name of it.
Or like the little bass that
yes, dude.
Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, dude. It's so driving. Like that's something I have to give like the most flowers to with Hunter x Hunter. Obviously the plot is amazing. I'm not gonna get into that, but is the sound design, like I had said, it is so well done, so thought out, and like you said, those moments of silence, they use the silence so well in that it's almost like Type Kubo does in Bleach with his use of the blank space on the page. They use that void to make the moment more impactful, and it's so well done, so well done. So Vex, best score?
I have so many entries into I couldn't pick one, so I have like a little list here, like a secondary list. If you guys like lists, this is the stream for you. But I really appreciate the entire like the openings and the score and everything for Ruby is done by Jeff Williams and Casey Lee Williams, which is a father and daughter musical group. And it's just been so wonderful to see. She started out as a young teen as doing the vocals, and her dad was a one-man band doing every other part of the musical composition and whatnot. And seeing her like grow into just a phenomenal like front lady, and just it's actually insane. And a lot of the action sequences in Ruby are also, like they do the full music it blows me away sometimes. It's like really, really, really perfectly articulated alongside the choreography, and it's really, really executed on a level that I don't think we really see because it's like so bespoke, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I also really want to shout out to Evan Call, which I know Dexter's losing his mind right now, absolutely loving it. But not just for Freerin, but also for Violet Evergarden, because he did phenomenal work on both, and an absolute goat. Fire Force and ReZero are both goated, and both of those are done by Kinichiro Suehira, and those are phenomenal. The sound design in Fire Force is insane, and ReZero is just goated. Like, bro knows. He watched the whole thing in like 3 days. But I gotta shout out Jujutsu Kaisen season 2, which had Yoshimasa Terui. I'm sorry, I don't speak Japanese. Kuso's judging me in the chat right now, I'm sure. But he took part in the composing for season 1, but took the lead in season 2. And dude is like the front man in a prog group, and he's just a cool guy, and he did a phenomenal job with JJK season 2.
Didn't you say that he had done so many different scores for JJK that there's some they actually had to leave out?
Completely, yeah. Like, so
wow.
My favorite one, it's called No Hesitation. It's not even in the show, but it's on like there's 2 albums that were released as far as the OST for season 2, and like there are like 2 or 3 tracks that didn't even get put into the show because this guy went so ham. You also cannot have a discussion like this without bringing up Samurai Champloo, which is
phenomenal.
Like, there's like a
phenomenal
full collective group, you know. So there's like Suchi, Fat John, Nujabez, and Force of Nature that all helped collaborate to bring just a wonderful fluid experience for like the music throughout that entire anime. And then I also really want to shout out to Yoshiaki Fujisawa, who did the scoring for Mushoku Tensei season 1 as well as Land of the Lustrous. It's just absolutely goated work on both of those projects.
Mm-hmm. Man, I should have had you go last. You outdid everything that I wrote down for mine.
I'm sorry, bro.
It's okay, baby. So
I heard we were rambling.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I thought this was rambling addiction.
So my pick for best score, it was hard for me to choose between 2 specific ones, but in the end, Frieren Beyond Journey's End won. The score in that is just amazing. Phenomenal. There's so many moments where you'll notice like just a small tweak of expression in Frieren's face, and the music really tells you how she's feeling in that moment. And the way that they use music as expression in that series is just phenomenal. Phenomenal. But my second choice was Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I mean, you can't go wrong with the score for that. I think it's called like Requiem for Trisha, or it's basically Trisha Elric's theme. Like, gets me every time. I could hear that in the background of a TikTok of someone like, I don't know, doing something explicit that I almost said on stream just now. And I would still like tear up. Yeah, that was my pick. Vex, you said way better things about Frieren Beyond Journey and score than I did. But nonetheless, that's a rambling addiction, baby. So
it's not a competition.
It's not. Well, we're about to get into it because we're. I had why are openings important in the notes for this live stream, but I feel like we kind of touched a little bit on that in the general discussion at the beginning. So we're gonna move right on to honorable mentions, guys. I have a large amount of honorable mentions.
I do as well.
Yeah, so maybe we'll do this kind of in the way that we're gonna do the top 10, where one of us will do one, and then the others will do one of theirs, and then we just kind of take turns a little bit. So my first honorable mention is 4 different songs, but it's because it's specifically.
That's cheating.
It's not. It's dub songs that were specifically made for animes, such as Rock the Dragon, the Pokemon theme song, One Piece's 4 Kids rap. Yeah, yo!
Oh my god.
Who's Got the Power from Zatch Bell?
Oh my
Name is Smokey D. Luffy. You know who's got the power. But yeah, like those are iconic, right? For any American or, English speaking country that was getting dubs of anime before we ever even saw a sub of an anime, these were it, right? I don't know anybody in my generation, at least, that can't just belt out the entire Pokemon theme song from memory. Like, I see both of you fighting the temptation iconic for it right now. Yeah,
I'm sure you could travel far and wide.
Oh my god.
With each Pokemon, I understand the power that's inside. Pokemon,
my God.
gotta catch 'em. But yeah, that's my first honorable mention. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Bro, you are the one to go.
My first honorable mention is going to be ROCK, the first opening for Naruto. Because
Oh,
that was
man.
one of the first anime like in college. Like I had seen already like Sword Art Online, Full Metal Alchemist, Death Note, but I didn't really give a shit or pay attention to openings at that time. And it wasn't until I watched Naruto where I actually like watched the whole intro, and because I was watching on Netflix and I didn't just click skip intro.
Yeah.
And I just love how Naruto was like a mid 2000s anime, felt like a 90s anime, but had the super 80s intro to it. And I just it made me fall in love with Naruto more than like watching that first actual episode.
Yeah.
And so it kind of captures what all I said earlier in the opening, where we talked about what makes it important. It makes an opening important. It just felt like, even visually, it just captured everything that I was going to see in Naruto.
Yeah. It's Naruto. That one also came up when I was trying to decide score, because like the flute tracks, the
You know Sasuke.
you know Sasuke, me and you, we are not so different.
Stop.
When I was Smokey, I'm not gonna do the whole thing. I'll stop myself. Vex, what is your first honorable mention?
Well, I didn't know we were able to like lump them together like you did, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give this is also like 6 songs in one entry, but I'm just gonna go ahead and put Asian Kung Fu Generation, everything that they've ever done, they've done openings for Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, they've done openings for Naruto, they've done openings for Erased, so that like they're all over the place. And mad respect. I could have made my list literally nothing but tracks that they've done, but I thought that it would be more appropriate to just put them in an honorable mention, because you can't let a discussion like this go by without bringing them up, you know.
Yeah, of course. Rosie, calm down. Did you just dox Vex's dog? My second honorable mention might be in one of your guys' top 10s, I'm not gonna lie. And it is Tank by the Seatbelts. Talk about iconic earworms that get stuck in your head, though. Mm-hmm. Let's get now. 3, 2, 1, let's go. I don't even know what fully to say about Tank. It's one of those intros. This comes into play too with the visuals, like we discussed in the opening. It just it works so well. The silhouetted images of Jet and Spike, like, is so well done. It's one of the best jazz pieces I've ever heard in my life, if I'm being honest.
That's what I was gonna say. It's just so straight up jazzy that you don't really see in openings. Everything's usually jazz influenced or has a touch of, or it's like jazz fusion. But this isn't one that's just straight up like 20s, almost swing.
Big band, swing jazz style, like.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many good. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, when I was growing up, you know, it was like I remember having on my first generation iPod Nano, you know, like a bunch of anime music, and I would always get looked at weird, you know, for being that kid who listened to anime music so loud it would blow out his like headphones and stuff like that. But like nobody would look at me that same kind of weird when I was listening to that track, because, you know, they'd be looking at me weird because I'm listening to jazz, but it wouldn't be the same kind of weird, you know? So it's like, it's definitely like something jazz? That I think a lot of people who, maybe if you aren't even into anime, you probably still bop to this song. So I also have it in my honorable mentions. I did not slot it into my top 10. It absolutely is goated 100%. But yeah, again, I wanted to have my list be a little bit more personal and not necessarily things that are just like the full crowd pleasers, you know?
That's how I felt as well, making mine. I believe that leads us back to Bro. What's your next honorable mention?
My next honorable mention is a dishonorable mention, and that is the song by V6, One Piece opening like 21 or 3, Yes, we got superpower from Whole
Oh,
Cake
God,
Island.
Oh,
I
no.
absolutely despise it.
No.
I absolutely
Insane.
despise that opening. The visuals, the music, everything about it is the most lazy, phoned-in melody I've ever heard in my life.
The auto tune though. Oh my
We
god.
got superpower.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh yes, peak. Perfect
Absolutely
first
wild.
dishonorable mention.
Well, if we're talking about One Piece openings and honorable mentions, or dishonorable, I'm gonna change gears here a little bit and go back to honorable mentions, and I'll go ahead and mention just the entire One Piece repertoire that has been done by Hiroshi Kitarani. It's just phenomenal.
Yes.
That's the GOAT right there. And I didn't put any of his specific tracks in my top 10, but again, you have to mention this person. And this is what I think honorable mentions are for, is for things that you just
I did put it in my top 10.
No, it's cool.
One of mine is in the top.
Respect.
One of his is in my top 10. One of his. I'm not gonna say which one.
No, and like I said, that is totally respectable. Me personally, I chose a lot of different things because One Piece is one of the most popular anime of all time across the entire planet. So I was like, I'm not gonna go for crowd favorites on my list, but I respect somebody else who would put it on their list, like both of you guys. So, but that's one of mine. Like, his whole collection. Because I guarantee you don't have every single one of his One Piece openings on your top 10, right? If you got one of them, a piece, that's awesome. And I respect
every
that,
version
but like,
of We Are.
Oh my god! But yeah, you just have to shout out the guy's entire, track, like his whole track list with One Piece. It's all goated.
Yeah,
it's all phenomenal.
Yeah, I could have said it better myself. Just to keep the theme going, my next honorable mention is also a One Piece opening. It is the dub version of Bon Voyage sung by Brina Palencia. It's just Bon Voyage. I watch a lot of Brina's like live streams and stuff like that, and I listen to her music as well. And it's just such an amazing transition from like the Japanese version of Bon Voyage is also A1 peak, but there's something about the way that she does it. It could just be hitting better for me because I'm a native English speaker, but Brina has a phenomenal voice, and to see her get to flex that a little bit in the show that she is a main character of, it's really nice. And I cannot harp on her voice enough, or not harp, that's a bad thing. I cannot brag about her voice enough. It's just so well done. If you guys have not listened to Brina's cover of Unravel from Tokyo Ghoul, phenomenal. Phenomenal.
All right.
That leads,
My next one is I'm probably gonna get some flack for not including my top 10, but it is Bluebird from Naruto. The reason I put it in honorable mention is because I do think it is a phenomenal song, a great song.
Yeah.
But as like an opening with the visuals and everything, I don't think it quite captures, the essence of Naruto, what I feel like, would represent the series. But it's a phenomenal piece of music by itself. And so that's why I didn't include it in my top 10. But I did need, and I stress, I needed to mention it in honorable mentions.
Yep.
I literally just put in parentheses in honorable mentions every Naruto opening, like all of them. Like it's just because it's so many people's like first foray into an anime that has so many openings, and like for me, no disrespect, I do vibe with One Piece openings a lot more now, especially after over on the Eternal Dawn we did a whole tier list of One Piece openings.
We did.
When you think of like a long running shonen and anime openings, like Naruto is like, there's just like they're all so good, and Bluebird is, in my opinion, I think it's top 5. It's not my number 1, it might be top 3 even, but yeah, like it's not my number 1 from the whole Naruto repertoire or anything like that. There's like 50 plus like different like Naruto openings and outros and stuff like that, so it's like it's very prestigious, it's very high up there. I completely respect this as a honorable mention. because I literally couldn't pick just one. Like, but the next thing I have on my list is this is shout out to Dexter, because I know this is gonna this is gonna set him off, but just everything that Otto has done, which is a lot actually, in the kind of short amount of time that Otto has hit the scene. I feel like everything has had like a little bit of her influence lately and things like that. But specifically, if I had to pick one, like the stuff from Film Red was goated, but Spy Family season 2 opening was also phenomenal, and she's just kind of everywhere. She's like, so major shout outs, but I couldn't I didn't want to put her in my top 10 because it's just so congested, you know. But honorable mention to pretty much everything she's done.
She Backlight from Film Red is literally in almost every single one of my playlist. It is a phenomenal song. Phenomenal song. My next honorable mention, it kind of a 2-for-1 again. It's Tell Me Why by the Pen Pals. It is the opening for Berserk 97. It's got this really like almost late 80s, early 90s punk and grunge feel to it with the guitar work in it. And then the almost out of tune melodic vocals to it, it just slaps. It's such a good, like almost abrasive juxtaposition between the two, but it works really, really well together. And then I have to shout out, this almost made it into score as well, the Berserk 97 track, or soundtrack, score, but Gatsu from Berserk 97, which is Guts' theme song. It is one of the most hauntingly beautiful compositions I've ever listened to in my life. I've literally listened to it and cried. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost put Berserk as my best overall score, the 97 version, because that whole soundtrack is honestly a little atypical. Like, you wouldn't think of any of those things, those pieces, to be an anime soundtrack. They sound so different from anything else. It's truly whatever he was on when he wrote everything was, I want a piece of that.
Yeah, same. It's especially with Gatsu, the almost operatic vocals that just kind of loop with each other. Like, it's so well done. And then you have Griffith's theme as well. It was definitely a strong contender for my score choice as well. So respect, mad respect. It's some of the best composition in all of anime. And if you've not experienced Berserk 97, do it, but prepare to be heartbroken. Bro, that leads to you, baby.
My next honorable mention is Mystical Adventure from OG Dragon Ball, the English version. I left this out of my top 10 because it is one of the GOATs. It is a crowd pleaser. But it also, it just so perfectly, the visuals and the song itself, I mean, it's in the title, Mystical Adventure, just perfectly captures the essence of OG Dragon Ball. Just Goku going about his way in the world, discovering what everything is like, discovering himself, meeting friends, meeting Roshi, Yamcha, the GOAT, the strongest in any verse.
Agreed.
Krillin, Bulma, and then as he, and they keep the same opening through the whole series, and I think it's just a perfect adventurous song for one of the best adventures in anime.
Yeah, I agree completely. This goes back to what we were saying in the introduction, or the opening bit, is it's a perfect blend of visuals matching the theme of the story, and the song is just a bop. Like, it's such a good song. You bob your head to it, you sing along, and it really captures, like you just said, the spirit of what makes Dragon Ball so good. It's my favorite out of Dragon Ball Z, Super. Dragon Ball is my favorite because of that sense of adventure, and I have to agree. That opening just encapsulates that perfectly.
And it's just such a great fucking, excuse my language, jazz fusion tune. Yeah. Like, it's just such a fun song. It's like one of my favorites, just like on a music standpoint. That's my style that I really enjoy. And so it just checks all the boxes for me.
Yeah. That fusion blend is really, really well done in there too. Good fusion blend. Vex, that leads us to you. What's your next honorable mention?
I got another collection here for you because that's just what I'm doing. That's the vibe I'm on right now. But
Okay.
I gotta go with every anime opening that Lisa has done, because there's been quite a few for like Sword Art Online, Demon Slayer, Shangri-La Frontier Season 2. There's like another one she did for Sword Art Online for Alicization. She's everywhere, and it's beyond iconic at this point. You know, just there's so many tracks. I could put a full playlist together of just her. She could literally comprise like somebody's full top 5, and I would respect that. But I went ahead and put her in honorable mentions, because it's like impossible to talk about anime openings without somebody going into like Crossing Fields, you know, or something like that.
Of course. My next one is a banger. I'm not gonna lie. Very iconic intro. Whether sub or dub, you'll find yourself dancing. It's Smile Bomb.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I didn't want to put it into my top 10 because it's such a crowd pleaser, but like, I could not tell you guys how many times I start my day with this song, and that's like legitimate. At least I say 2 to 3 times a week. I wake up in the morning and I need to, get going and wake up. I go to Smile Bomb. Because in a faceless town, dun, 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 dun,
it's such a good like dub cover. It's really phenomenal.
When you feel like crying, oh my, got to open. I'm not gonna sing the whole thing.
I was like, this is the whole stream now.
And suddenly, it's so good. It takes over my whole body. It's one of the only songs that like I can't help but dance to it. In that bass line, the boom 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 boom.
Dude, for me it's the horns. The horns get me. Like it's like something, it compels me to like get up out of my chair and just like, I don't know, like it's, if I could do a backflip I would. Like it's just it's such, that is absolutely iconic for me. And it was one of the first series that I got like really deep into that was like more longer running,
Yeah, same.
Everything about the song is perfect, but one of my favorite parts, you already hit a lot of it, but there's this one part in the middle of the verse where she hits this note and everything just cuts out and you just hear and it goes right back into it.
The little cymbal crash. Yeah.
That and
perfect.
I also had this ex in college. I had this ex in college, and she had never watched anime before. And I was like, I got the perfect one. We should start watching. And it was Yu Yu Hakusho, and she vibed so hard. I think pretty sure the Smile Bomb was the sole reason that kept her interested in wanting to keep watching Yu Yu Hakusho.
That's amazing.
And it's one of my favorite memories of college. Is us just dicking around, listening to Smile Bomb. Yeah, watching Yu Yu Hakusho.
I have to say too, to the audience, if you've not read the manga to Yu Yu Hakusho, do it. Tagashi, the anime is great. It's goated, but the manga, even better than the anime.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Yeah. You're a meshy.
You're a meshy.
You're a meshy. This is okay. I gotta call this out real quick before we move on to your next honorable mention, bro. Is every time you take a drink, you change cups. It went from a water glass to a mug, then back to a water glass, and I'm seeing it in my OBS, and it's making me laugh every time, man.
He's a man of many fluids.
He's a man of many fluids. Remember, bro will chug a glass of water.
Drinker. What can I say?
Yeah, collect. I also have a bottle of water and bottle of #not-sponsored Dr. Pepper. But yes, what's your next honorable mention?
My next honorable mention is Departure from Hunter x Hunter. I think it's a banger song. I remember watching when you were going through your Rambling Addiction series and we were watching it all together. We would all, sometimes not mute up, but we would all be singing it together.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's a fun song.
I sing that shit in the shower.
Same.
But there is a reason why I didn't include it in my top 10 besides being, a crowd pleaser. I don't think it quite captures the essence of Hunter x Hunter like another that I included, which we'll get into later. But yeah, it's just a banger of a song. Not much else to say to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what you were saying in that it it definitely encaptures like the setting off, like it's called departure, like, you know, like the vibes you get in the first episode and throughout the first arc and things like that. It definitely does a really good job, and I never got tired of it through like 150 episodes. They kept the same, they did different verses, but they kept the same track for like 150 episodes, and you don't see a lot of anime that go that far with one opening. And I do think that I agree, because it does become a much darker and more complex and morally gray story, that I can't say that Departure does fully capture like the vibe, but it does such a good job right out the gate of capturing that initial vibe, you know. It is also in my honorable mention, so yeah, we're matching on a lot here.
I'm gonna withdraw my comments on this because it is in my top 10.
Respectful. No, yeah, completely respectful. I had, like, I gotta mention Cruel Angel's Thesis is something that I have never in my life heard so many people say that this is their top 1 anime intro of all time, and I respect that. It's not mine, but I feel like there would just be like a million angry comments if we didn't mention Cruel Angel's Thesis. So if it is in somebody's top 10, I totally respect that and appreciate that, but I had to give it the shout out here in my honorable mentions. Of course,
yeah. It's a big, once again, withdrawing my comments because it's in my top 10.
So, it's also an honorable mention of mine, and the reason why, I mean, yeah, it isn't in my top 10, but I did need to mention it regardless. But I listen to it every other day. I listen to it at the gym, while I'm lifting, while I'm in the sauna, while I'm driving home. Like, there's just so many different headspaces I could use that song in.
Yeah, I don't think that it actually really captures the vibe of Neon Genesis Evangelion. I'm gonna be real, but it as a standalone piece of music is phenomenal. Like, I've only ever actually watched Evangelion like twice through, I believe, in my entire existence, but I've listened to that song thousands of times. Like, actually thousands. It's not an exaggeration.
Yeah, I want to talk on it so bad, but I'm waiting. I'm like sitting over sweating. You got any more honorable mentions? I have 6 more honorable mentions. Where are you guys at?
I have a couple more. Yeah.
Okay. So next up is Inner Universe by Origa. This is from Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. Everyone always talks about like the Inuyasha outro, that na, 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 waking them up in the middle of the night. No, Inner Universe was the original "This is waking you up in the middle of the night" song. I'm not a big fan of the anime series Ghost in the Shell. I love the movie. I probably should try to watch it again. It was in my youth that I last dipped my toes into it. But I have to say, like, this, it's almost like a trap drum beat with the hi-hat in this song, and then the very sparse vocals on top of that too, like the da 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 da. Mind my awful singing, guys, but like it awakens something primal in me, right? It's almost like Gatsu does. With Gatsu, it brings a certain emotion to the surface when you listen to it, and Inner Universe does the same thing for me.
Yeah, I will reserve my comments on this one.
Hey, let's go!
I have not heard it nor seen Ghost in the Shell. So I don't have anything to say.
I did play it. Hold on. I did play it when we were in VC in NacReacts Discord server. Go check out NacReacts channel. But I did play it when we were first coming up and like with the ideas for the stream. I was playing some of my honorable mentions in that VC. I was like just tested the water. But so I think you have heard it, but you may have been locked into some Kingdom Hearts while I was playing it.
I know for a fact he has heard it because I've also played it. It's in my regular rotation, like, but it's like,
bro's like, I wasn't locked in.
Knowing it by name is different, though. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I'm surprised though. Like, you definitely should after stream give it a good listen, because I think with your compositional taste, you would really dig it.
Bet.
Big bet, baby.
My my next honorable mention is an ending. It is, or an outro. It is. I'm surprised no one's talked about anything from this show yet, or use it as in their soundtrack choices. But it is "Last Train Home" by Pat Metheny from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Let's go.
Pat Metheny is one of my favorite guitarists, one of my biggest inspirations, and to see him even be used in an anime is just incredible. And that song in general is just such an interesting, unique song with just this 16th note drum cymbal pattern going all the way through, and this guitar effect that sounds more like a keyboard meets sitar, like combined together. And it's just such a beautiful, beautiful song that like puts me at peace, at ease, and I can understand why it would be needed to be listened to at the end of a JoJo's episode.
Yeah. Beautifully said. I don't recall if I've heard this one, if I'm being honest. I've only watched parts 1 and 2 and a little bit of part 3.
No, you haven't gotten there yet. But
okay.
Yeah, honestly, I was honestly wanting to speak a lot more on JoJo's when we were talking about like our first topic and whatnot, but I again will reserve my comments, and we'll be getting into that a little bit later.
Yeah. Vex, what's your next honorable mention?
So my next honorable mention is actually gonna be, so it's kind of like a dual entry, but it kind of encompasses like just a full spectrum of songs that have been coming out more recently. So this is like your more viral things. I absolutely love like Kickback, the Chainsaw Man opening, and I absolutely love Otonoke, the Dawn to Dawn entry, or like opening. But I'm gonna put them in my honorable mentions. And again, if somebody put them in their top 10, I would totally respect that. But they're not in mine, so I had to shout them out here. But just a lot of the things that have just kind of popped off and gone viral in the past couple of years. There's some really, really, really good talent putting out anime like openings recently. And a lot of my top 10 are not recent entries, but I wanted to shout them out. So it's kind of like a blanket mention, you know?
Yeah, I have to shout out Creepy Nuts as well, because not only with the Dawn to Dawn intro, but they also did the, what is it, Mashal?
For Mashal.
Bling, bang, bang, bon. Like that was an earworm. Even my like 3-year-old was singing that. Like it was.
That is the only reason why, even though it's from season 2, that is the only reason why I even tried to begin watching Mashley. Unfortunately, the series wasn't my thing, so I didn't make it through season 1. But the song was good enough to make me like, you know what, let's give this a shot.
Yeah. If you've not heard, Game Boy Jones, I believe is his name. Shout out SSJ Cody for showing me this. Does a really, really awesome, solid English cover of that as well. His Otonoki cover is not that good, but his Bling Bling Bang Board, I had to stop and think if I said that correctly or not, but his cover of that is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And it doesn't lose the original meaning either. It's not my last honorable mention, but it's my last honorable mention for intros. It is Boa by Duvet. This is from Serial Experiments Lane. Both of you guys know I was on like a 25-year quest to find this anime, and I recently found it again. I'm only 2 episodes in, and it's living up to the hype that 8-year-old Lucas had set for it. But one of the key things that I remembered from it was the introduction. So hearing it and getting to find it again, I've listened to this song probably about 75 times in the past like week. It's been in constant loop in my playlist. Like, it is so good, dude. It's just classic. It's almost like mom rock from the 90s. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, you know what I mean? Like some good old Alanis Morissette or something like that. But maybe closer to like Four Non-Blondes. Yeah, it's a banger. It's got that folksy 90s acoustic guitar in it, and I'm always a big fan of that. Yeah.
Speaking of mom rock, Vex and I have collabed on making a Mom Jams playlist.
Yes, it's a banger too.
Slaps.
When Fiona Apple comes on, I lose it every time.
Mhm.
Fell in love with an innocent man.
Okay, let's come on, Lucas.
Bro, what's your next honorable mention?
My next honorable mention has to be One Piece opening 25. This isn't a dishonorable one. This is an actual honorable mention, but it is The Peak by Sekai no Owari.
Mm-hmm.
I love the song, and had gotten so tired of the
No.
previous opening,
I love
and
paint. I love
and I
paint.
wanted something else, and I got this juicy little vibe jam with some just incredible visuals, and it didn't break my top 10, but I wanted to mention it because I did love that song. I love the visuals, and for something that I desperately wanted from the series in regards to openings, it was so short lived. It only lasts for like maybe 20 episodes.
Yeah,
It was
Not
like
even
12
maybe.
episodes.
Yeah.
This is like the very last bit of Wano, yeah.
I feel very seen and validated right now because I also grew so tired of paint. I was like, please, Toei,
No.
give us a new introduction, please. I'm begging you. And then episode 1000 came out and we got We Are again, and I was like, yeah. And then they just went right back to paint.
I love paint.
vexyz.
I absolutely love it. It's so good.
He's over here gushing. What's your next honorable mention, brother?
I wanted to shout out the Code Geass opening, the first season opening, which is like Colors by Flow. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely insane, and I really struggled, and this almost broke top 10, but it did not, and so here we are putting it in honorable mentions. But it's such a masterpiece, and it's like a lot of their other music, because they've done a few other anime openings and things like that. It's a fully different vibe, but this they struck gold with, and I really like it.
Yeah, I am not that familiar with Code Geass, but I do remember the intro you're talking about.
Yeah, I remember
dude, you need to
watching
watch it.
Code Geass back in middle school when it was first coming out, and it was such a one of the intros was that intro is one of the things I looked forward to every day coming home from school, and
I'd put it
watching it
on the level. Yeah, I literally put it on the level with like Smile Bomb and Cruel Angel's Thesis. Like I feel like it's like adjacent. It's a lateral movement to both of those, which is like I hold all of them in very high regard. That's why they're in honorable mentions, you know.
And honestly,
of course,
Flow in general could have been included as just one honorable mention altogether with everything they've done for anime.
Very well said. I'm gonna go into my next one. I have two outros in honorable mention. The first one, also a JoJo's outro. It is a Roundabout by Yes. I mean, come on. That bass run and the flamenco style guitar going into the bass run. Hitting those pitch harmonics like gets me going every single time.
Yeah, it's definitely
sorry, but no, I listen to this at work all the time, and I'm not gonna lie, there was a guy who came into my work and was like, is that JoJo's music? And I was like, yeah, it is.
I'm like,
is that a JoJo's reference?
So like I love JoJo's, and I absolutely think that, you know, all of the parts that I've seen have been adapted extremely well, and you know, I've gotten through part 7 and I can't wait for it to get animated, and I'm currently going through part 8 right now. But like, I loved Yes and the song Roundabout like a really long time ago. Now it's you cannot you can't just listen to it and people like it's automatically associated with like JoJo's, which I get it. So it's like it's reached that level of iconic in the fandom and just in the general anime space, but like it's also just like a good bop just by itself, and I'm just like, this song existed for like decades before JoJo's like got animated, you know.
After I think it's like after the second chorus, it goes into like a completely different flow for the song. Like it switches tempo, the guitar riff changes up, the bass riff changes up.
It's a journey.
And then the keyboard leads you right back into the madness that is Roundabout. Like, it's so good. It's a masterpiece on levels of like Bohemian Rhapsody to me. Like, with how much they put into the composition of the work. Like, it's so good.
Yeah. I like the full song really does deserve as much love as the like not even like a quarter of the song gets like a shown in the JoJo's outro that it was used in. And so I'm just like I love that JoJo's helped get this to be more popular, but I just really wish that people would listen to the full song as well as more songs by the band. You know what I mean? I
have to say this too real quick, and I usually try to refrain from cursing or being vulgar on Rambling Addiction, but that song fucks. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, that song is amazing, and it just fucks. Like, it's so good. But yeah, I almost called you by your Discord handle. Bro! What are we looking for your next honorable mention?
I am actually out of honorable mentions now.
How many left you got, Vex?
I got one more.
Okay.
And
I have
this
3
one's
more.
for the main man. Well, I'll let you pop off here in a second. But this one's for the main man, SSJ Cody in the chat, because this couldn't break my top 10, but I have to shout it out. And it is that boy Hironobu Kageyama, who did Shala Head Shala. It's such an iconic vibe, like across the world. I feel like more people have listened to this opening than probably any other throughout like the decades since. So it is absolutely worth mentioning, but unfortunately did not make my top 10.
Yeah, I'll have to refrain from commenting.
Let's go.
Okay, real quick, I'll do my honorable mentions before we get into the main event of the night and do our top 10s. My last 3 honorable mentions, there's one more outro, and it is Wind by Akiboshi. I think we can all agree, phenomenal song. The piano work in that is just amazing, and then the flute coming in as well with the drums. It's so
don't do
iconic.
it,
like
Lucas. Don't.
It's cultivate.
Don't do it. Do
not. But no, that's another one that it's in my almost daily rotation. Every time I got my headphones on at work and I'm putting away a track order or something like that, that's right there in my ears, blaring, and it's almost got this nostalgic feel to it. Even though I didn't start Naruto until 2024, it's got this, like, just the lyrics and the feel of it just feels like the early 2000s, right? Like, it just feels nostalgic, but at the same time, it is a timeless song. And then for my last 2, they're dishonorable mentions. The first being,
here we go.
Let's go.
The opening one for Death Note. I just find this song, I'm not gonna lie, I'm sorry if it's in anybody's top 10s. I find this song so abrasive. Just it like just comes on too hard, too fast. The visuals are a little wacky. Like it turns me off a little bit from the series. But then you get into the series and it's peak. So that's it. And last dishonorable mention is the Big O theme song, where they just go Big O, Big O, Big O, Big O. What were you thinking?
That shit's peak.
She slaps. You hear the lyricism? What could it be about?
I remember like making fun of the Big O theme song when I was a kid. So yeah, if little 5-year-old me shits on it, then yeah, I can respect the dishonorable mention there.
No, listen, I went back to listen to it to be like, all right, is it as bad as I remember? It is. Like,
it's probably worse.
Like, yeah, a little bit. So guys, we are now getting into the top 10. I think we could follow the order that we're going in now. So my first 5 of my top 10, so 10 through 6, are mostly dedicated to songs that I find myself singing throughout the day. If not every day, they're ones that get stuck in my head more often than not. So my number 10 pick, sub or dub, the Sailor Moon theme song.
Oh
Oh man.
Yeah.
fuck yeah!
Fighting evil by moonlight.
Is that why you made a TikTok earlier today about
Yes, I
Sailor
did.
Moon?
Yes, that is why, because it was stuck in my head all day. But Sailor Moon, if I'm being honest, before Dragon Ball Z, before Pokemon, before any of those, that was the first anime I ever saw. Obviously, I did not recognize it as anime because it was the Deke dub, and you know they canonically made two girlfriends cousins. But we won't. That's neither here nor there. Nonetheless,
I remember my parents being very worried about my sexuality with how much I like Sailor Moon.
yeah, same.
Not realizing, I was like, I just liked pretty girls. I didn't realize that was wrong.
Yeah, same. Like me and my brother used to go outside and play Sailor Moon, and I'd be like, "I'm Sailor Jupiter." I like green. But yes, it does. It gets stuck in my head more often than not. It's one of those theme songs that's just iconic. And like I said, Japanese or English, specifically the Deke dub English version, though. It's just, it reminds me of my childhood. It reminds me of a completely different era in anime. And it's a headworm. It gets stuck in my head. It's not even the best, like, compositionally or anything like that. It's very generic, but it's iconic.
All right. Is it my go?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Number 10, I have HT by Tsuneyo Imahori, the theme or intro to Trigun, the original.
Yes, sir.
917. I just fucking love that, just straight up heavy metal 80s guitar, just riffing its way through a minute 30 seconds. And I don't recall if there's any lyrics or anything vocally going on, because I am just checked out to the riff the entire way through.
It's almost like the Power Rangers theme song. Like the riff is just so good that you lock into that. You're like, I don't even care that they're yelling "Go Go Power Rangers." I just want to hear that tapping.
Bro's putting it on Buckethead level, and we gotta respect that. Now,
Exactly.
I love all three of the classic space westerns, and I was thinking about putting, like, we all shouted out Cowboy Bebop earlier. I was thinking about putting out Lost Stars opening on my honorable mentions as well, and Trigun, and yeah, I have a soft spot for this. Love the pick, absolutely love it. I honestly didn't think back to consider this one, but it should have been in my honorable mentions.
Yeah,
so I'm
same.
glad you brought it up.
I am too. That's exactly how I feel too. It's one of those ones that just instantly transports me back to, like 2003, 2004, staying up late with my little box TV in my bedroom, waiting to watch, Cowboy Bebop and Trigun. And it's a very nostalgic song for me.
Hell yeah.
Vexy.
My number 10 is it's actually gonna be Obsession by Seesaw, which is the opening theme for Dot Hack Sign, which is one of my favorite isekais of all time. It was probably the first isekai that I knew what like an isekai was, like, before I actually started, because like there's like Digimon and like the Wizard of Oz, but like I didn't know what I was getting into, like, going into watching those two things. But I knew, like, somebody had sold me on, like, oh yeah, it's like this story about these people who go into a game and one dude's like trapped in the game, and it was like, so this is before the days of Log Horizon or SAO or anything like that. And the overall soundtrack, like, so many of the pieces of music for this anime specifically are beyond iconic for me. They are like ingrained into my genetic code at this point. I've listened to them so much, but the opening, by far, just like straight out the gate, it has this like almost like resonance from Soul Eater. Like, you hear that first note and you're just you're just transformed. It's like when Freakazoid hits the key on his keyboard. Like, I'm changed. Like, it's such a good opening. Obsession is such a perfect name. It's literally, not a day has gone by that I haven't hummed this little tune. If you haven't listened to it, check it out. If you haven't watched the anime, check it out as well. It's a little bit darker, and like I think it's really, really cool. I don't think that the visuals or the vibe of the song encapsulate the tune or like the tone of the anime very well, because the anime is very somber. It's almost like a Tarantino movie where like there's a lot of talking and not too much action, but the action does really hit. Whereas this song is so hype. It is like actually insanely hype. So I don't know, but like as the song, just like as a standalone piece of music, I think it checks all three of my main musical criteria. The visuals are really, really great, but they don't necessarily like actually vibe with the anime itself. But yeah, so that's why it's at number 10. I wanted to put it higher. I thought about it.
Before I get to my number 9, I'm not familiar with Dot Hack. You know this. When I was a child, I did not like it because of the reason that you just said. It's like a Tarantino film. A lot of talking, not a lot of action. And little baby boy Lucas was very much an action anime kind of guy. Before I get to 9, though, I do have to, real quick, honorable mention that none of us got to shout out is Digital Monsters, the theme song for the English dub of Digimon. I guess that kind of falls into that first honorable mention I did. But like... like it's so good. So crunchy.
Beep, beep,
beep 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 Digimon beep 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 beep. Number 9 is one that just like Wind after last year got really ingrained into my playlist, and it is Haru or Sunny by Yuru Shika from Frieren Beyond Journey's End. This is one that the visuals play a big part in how I felt about the song. It's the second opening for Frieren. The lyrics as well match up really well with the things going on while it is the opening for Frieren. Yeah, it's the lyricism, the composition of it. The composition is kind of basic, if I'm being honest, but it's I don't know. The vocals, everything about it just hits me. It gets me there. It's such a soft, beautiful song, but still has enough punch to keep you interested in what you're seeing and what you're hearing.
Yeah, Frieren, that was going to be an honorable mention, but I knew without a shadow of a doubt it was going to be either of y'all's top 10. So I left it out.
Fair enough, man.
Both of them, actually.
He said both of them. Yeah, that brings us to Bro.
I will. Yeah, I also
Bex, yeah.
just to say, I also put Haru on my list. It's much higher than where you put yours. Put it on yours, though.
I have a feeling that's going to happen to us twice at least.
Probably. So I'll speak more on it whenever my turn comes around. Whenever that one actually gets pulled. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, my number 9 should actually probably be my number 10. I just thought it'd be funny to put it at number 9. And it is What is the Injustice by Glow from Cyborg 009.
Mm-hmm. You sent this one the other day, and it was it was.
And what I love about it is that the visuals aren't the greatest. I just love the progression and how the song like evolves, because there's like I think it's not even 1 minute and 30 seconds, it's 1 minute and 9 seconds, but there's like these 3 distinct parts of this one song, and it just slowly builds and evolves and changes over time. And by the end of it, you feel like you're in this like futuristic rave with a whole bunch of, dare I say, cyborgs, and it's just a good time.
I am not familiar with this anime, but you sent this to us before stream, and I sat and listened to it, and I was like, this is a banger. And the way that, like you said, it builds, it's almost like there's 3 acts to this one, like you said, like a 1 minute and 9 second song, and it works so well. And by the end of it, I was like, I think I need to watch this anime.
It's one of the first anime I watched. I didn't even know what anime was at the time when I watched it. So whenever I went back in college and like afterwards, I had no idea what to look for, and so I was in some other Discord, and someone was like, "Has anyone ever seen this show?" And I was like, sent a picture of it, and I was like, "Hold the fuck up!" And just had like a blast from the past just like rush into my fucking brain, and I was like, "Dude, I need to sit down and watch this right now."
That was me with Serial Lane. Like it's
still so good. Like these. Not to give away too much, but these humans are turned into cyborgs against their will, and so it goes into all of like the really heavy subjects of with that, like, what is free will? What are we? Are we still people and all that? And
Yeah.
there's still like this almost like Disney-esque quality to the animation, to how everything's drawn, because it's like I think it's from a manga from like the 60s or 70s, so it's still like that kind of classic to not quite yet what we would think of as like a typical manga art style.
Yeah, it's almost like a Astro Boy Speed Racer style.
Yeah,
to it. Yeah, that's a solid pick for number 9.
You're one of the 3 people that I have socialized with in the past, like probably decade and a half, who even knows what this anime was. But yeah, it was a whole experience. It was a whole vibe. Back in the day when I was watching like Gundam Wing and like this and like Yu Yu Hakusho, this was what I was watching when I was making fun of the Big O theme song. So like, yeah, it's from a very cherished era. And yeah, thank you for reigniting my love for the track, you know.
let's go.
Let's go. That's what I like to hear. Vex, that leads us to your number 9.
My number 9 is actually something we've talked about. I believe while you were doing the first segment, the OSTs and stuff like that. But mine is actually Ride On Shooting Star by the Pillows.
Let's go. Guys, it's really hard for me not to sing all these songs. I'm so sorry, Vex. Go on.
Yeah, people getting to see how the sausage is made when we're doing it live, you know. But this was one of the first, like, I don't know, like Fully Cooley is just like such a great, like, very quick 6 episodes, like very concise, and it's a coming of age tale where not everything gets answered and a lot is left up to interpretation and things like that. It's just, there's so much apprehension when you're going through it, and it's very frantic, and like the juxtaposition of this very like melancholy, you know, like through line that the Pillows contribute, it's actually insane. And the outro, I don't know, man, just like with the like little stop motion bits of homegirl riding on the Vespa, and it's like live, it's like, it's not animated, it's like real actual footage, and it's like, I don't know, it's just it's such a departure from like what the show like made me leave off and feeling. Yeah, okay. But it's crazy because I remember I literally used to stay up, and like a lot of the time I didn't even know what was going on in the show, but I would stay up just for the outro. And it wasn't until like maybe like my 3rd like catching of the reruns that like I really actually started to vibe with the whole concept of the show, because I was just so young. But that little earworm, you know, and like the little waveforms, you know, just the, you know, as the outro starts, like that, in that very first little visual you get, it's just it has never left me. It's always in the back of my mind, just going off constantly.
Like I said earlier, it's that ending of that first episode is a perfect example of how hard hitting that outro is, because it goes from Little Busters, which is also a pretty hard hitting song. It starts with that guitar riff before he comes in with the drums and the bass and the vocals and stuff, and it's playing that as you're kind of experiencing Naoto experiencing Haruku for the first time himself, and you, the audience, are experiencing her for the first time yourself as well, really.
Yeah,
and it goes,
and it's
right
such like a magnanimous like moment, and then you get like this like kind of catharsis and like lethargy like throughout like the track, and it's just like it really does like a leveling, and like there's some sort of space in between, like how grand what you're watching and how like lulling what you're listening to. It's just like you meet in this like perfect little point in the middle, and it's great. I love it.
Guys, should I rewatch FLCL? What? I mean, I guess you should twist my arm about it. Like,
you should watch every season.
I need to. I really need to.
Episodes.
With how much of a fan I am of the series, I really need to dive into the sequels. Like I said, I watched the 2nd season. I think I watched like the first 4 episodes of it, and I enjoyed what I watched. I just never picked it up after the week to week, which I should have. But that leads us to my number 8, which, shout out again to SSJ Cody. It is Cha-La, Head Cha-La by Hironobu Ariyama. It's just iconic, guys. And I find myself throughout my day just being Cha-La, Head Cha-La. Like, I'll be like walking around work, like stocking shelves or whatever, and just be like Cha-La. It's peak. And there was a lot of this is gonna get a little sentimental for a moment, but there was a lot of tributes when Toriyama-sama died. But the one that got me the most were images of him like doing like press things and stuff like that, and like drawing and sliced with images of Goku and stuff like that, and like footage of him, you know, talking about the anime or this or that, and playing this song specifically in the background, because it encapsulates that feeling of, like you had said, with a mystical journey, I believe, or mystic journey, with Dragon Ball. Head Cha-La, like that encapsulates the energy of Dragon Ball Z, especially with the sparking. Like it's such a almost silly song, but it works so well, and it reminds me of why I love Dragon Ball Z every time I hear it. It's just, it's one of those perfect openings to me, with the visuals, you know, and it ends with Goku and Gohan flying on the Nimbus in the circle, like mirroring Dragon Ball. So it's just, it's visuals wise, song wise, iconability wise, it's perfect. I'm gonna cry now. No.
I remember back in the day, I didn't know anything about anime being Japanese. I was just like, oh, check out these cool cartoons where these guys punch each other really freaking hard and they got big hair. And like, it was like before I really knew anything about like the culture, and I knew what Dragon Ball Z was. I didn't know Dragon Ball until after. Just I was about, I think 5 when like the Saiyan saga started airing in English, like on Cartoon Network. I was around that age. I don't remember exactly how old I was, maybe a little bit younger than that, but I didn't know what the whole deal was. But I remember somebody like mentioning the Dragon Ball theme song, and I was like, it's Dragon Ball Z actually, and they started singing this song, and I was like, no, it's Dragon. And like, I was like, actually, and I was completely wrong. And it was like, that always stuck with me. And that was like, I was never like, I don't know, that kid was way into it. And I remember he tried to go Super Saiyan at recess on the playground. Like, shout out to him.
So
I hope
did
he's doing all right. But I wasn't that big into it. But yeah, this is iconic. Absolutely.
I remember when I first started watching Dragon Ball Z, I sometimes had like bad auditory processing, so I didn't know they were saying Saiyan. I thought they were saying sand. And so I thought Goku was going Super Saiyan.
I want to be Super Saiyan.
Oh my god.
I wanna... Okay, Vegeta, calm down. Yeah, that's, I don't know anyone in our generation who didn't try to, maybe you, Vex, because you said you weren't that into it, but didn't try to go Super Saiyan at least once, like in the shower, just like,
I tried every day at recess, me and the homies.
Yeah,
on the playground.
Exactly.
No,
You stand in a circle, like GT style.
I did do some Seto Kaiba Yugimoto ass shit, like with the cards, and like I like pretended I had a dual disc until I actually had a dual disc. Yeah.
With a third rate dick. Like,
whoa, a third rate what? Oh man.
Oh, beautiful. I believe that brings us to your number 8, Mr. Bro.
Yes, it is. My number 8 is, again, a classic that I used to watch as a kid, and it is Just Communication by 2Mix from Gundam Wing.
Oh man.
This song is just a vibe. Like, it's just so fun to dance to sing along to. The visuals are fun to look at. And no, it does not at all capture the essence of Gundam Wing, which is a pretty dark storyline. About creating child soldiers.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And brainwashing them into
it was the 90s.
Yeah. But, different time. Man, it's just a good song, man. And it's one of the first that I ever watched as a kid.
Yeah.
And That's really, I love how, even though it is from the 90s, early 2000s, that it's just such still an 80s infused track, almost disco-esque in some parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really all I can really say about it.
Funnily enough,
It's crazy because like,
oh,
go ahead.
Okay, I took this off my honorable mentions because I had to remove a couple because it was so long. But when we were listening, I was listening to this, and my wife straight up was like, "There's a Gundam anime? I thought it was just action figures." I was like, "No, there's like 12 Gundam animes."
Also, shout out to CartoonNetwork.com where they had the Gundam games that you could play on the website,
yes.
dude.
Yes.
Oh
Wow. You just awoken a part of my brain that I forgot was there.
I go way back with Gundam Wing, and I never really vibed with many other Gundam series because, like Lucas said, there's like 12 of them at least. I've heard good things about Iron Blooded Orphans, but like I never got into it after Gundam Wing. But that was actually the first manga volume that I ever owned. I bought on the same day. I got the manga for Fully Cooley, and I got the manga volumes for Endless Waltz from Gundam Wing. So it was like, yeah, this is huge nostalgia vibes that I'm getting right now. I love it. I didn't put it in my top 10, but mad respect.
Mad respect indeed.
But yeah, then we got my number 8, and this is, I had many to pick from this franchise, and bro had already mentioned it previously. This is from the crazy pantheon of like absolute bangers that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has provided us. My absolute number 1 of all of the JoJo's tracks is from part 1. And it's the opening, which is Sonochi no Sadame, which is absolutely a masterpiece. Like, I cannot say how much I love the original version, which is performed by Tommy or Hiroaki Tominaga. It's an absolute bop. Musically, it's phenomenal. The lyrics are so hype. This dude's vocal range is crazy. The like horns in the background, it's like an entire vibe. I feel like I could conquer the world listening to this song. But I also really respect the cover that is performed by Shoko Nakagawa, one of my absolute favorite human beings. She's perfection, and this song is damn near perfection. I wanted to put it higher on my list as well, but yeah, this is the peak as far as JoJo's music goes, in my opinion.
I've not seen the part that this is attached to, so I sadly cannot comment on it. And I appreciate you not sending me this intro because... Wait, is it part 1?
Part 1.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the one from... Yeah, okay, and I can comment on this. Also, Peak, I'd listen to this and the one for part 2 as well. The...
That is a completely different song.
I know. That's all I did. I had mentioned part 2. It was in my, that one was also in my honorable mentions. I'm just blanking on the title at the moment, but I miss Jonathan.
But yeah, I really
really
vibe with the first opening so much, and like just kind of all of the music from like all of JJBA, but I had to put this one on my list because I literally listen to it at least once a day, every day.
That's beautiful. My number 7 is one that I also listen to almost every single day. Like an Angel with cruel and merciless intent. Go forth, young boy, and you'll become a legend. It's Cruel Angel's thesis. Like, we've already spoke on this a little bit, but like, it's just, you were talking about the horns in Cruel Angel's thesis are just amazing. And the more I think about it, it does kind of, bring it back.
We need to bring more brass into anime openings, like, please.
Agreed. But it's just an earworm, man. It gets so stuck in my head constantly, where I'll just be going around work, being like dun 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 dun. Like it's a bop. It is a whole bop, and I was so like both of you had mentioned it in your honorable mentions, or one, at least one of you did, and we all spit on it a little bit. But it's just
Hey yo.
hey from my childhood. It's one of those which I should not have been watching Neon Genesis from in my childhood,
Yeah, I
but
was like,
nonetheless, I
Ain't no
did.
way.
Back when sci-fi had Japanime for to age myself a little bit. Or Japanimation
Oh
is
my
what they called
God.
it. They called it Japanimation back in the day. But yeah, I remember this like vividly, being like 7 years old and hearing that theme song. And every time I hear it, it just takes me back to like that one moment of catching it on TV and then being terrified because the angels are scary when you're a child. Anyone have any other thoughts on it? Cruel Angel's Thesis before we move on to Mr. Bros number 7?
I think I am thesised out. I didn't realize it was actually gonna be in the top 10, so I let it all out. Honorable mention.
Yeah, right.
I think
your hypothesis is that become a thesis now. No.
Like there's literally people who have written theses about this song,
Theses
and
on
like
thesis.
I've heard so many people say that it's their top one, and I totally get it. It is a bop. It's I don't in any way dislike the song, but I've heard I think that so many people have spoken its praise. I don't need to do any more of that, you know.
Yeah. Fair enough. It is iconic. I mean, it has been spoken on time and time again. But bro, hit us up with your number 7, please.
Well, you asked for more brass and more modern anime openings, and this one has it in loads, and that is Us by Hiroshi Kitadani from the One Piece opening 26. I not just a fucking incredible song where it has like this almost like speedy power metal-y like guitar and drum track going through it. There's brass, there's symphonic elements. Kitadani is just an incredible singer, and also I know I spoke on it for opening 25, but another great and incredible animation sequence for the opening itself. And
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't too upset when opening 25 stopped because this song and this opening in general is just such a banger. And I think it also just if it's what I feel One Piece is, if that makes sense.
I can agree with that. I'm going to speak on this more later because it is in my list as well, just at a higher spot.
Fuck yeah.
But it's that opening, especially like when he hits that all of us dun, 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 and Luffy's walking and his clothes are changing through
And
the arcs of the series. Oh
the
my
lady
god!
vocalist pops off right there. I'm sorry, yeah.
Oh well, that's another aspect of it too. Is I'll wait. I'll save it. I'll save it for it.
Yeah, I just think Kitadani as an artist has just like aged like a fine wine, and it's I don't know, it's crazy to me. This is timeless, and I feel like 100 years from now, people are gonna listen to this track and appreciate it to the same degree that we're, you know, all of our honorable mentions, things that have gone down in history as some of the greatest of all time. This is right up there with it. I completely agree.
Big facts. Vex the fact spitter.
Next up, my number 7. We're on 7, right? Yeah.
Yes.
You had actually brought this one up just a little bit earlier as well, so I won't say too much. But this, my number 7 is in fact Inner Universe by Origa.
Let's go.
Which is from Ghost in the Shell. I was not a huge fan of Ghost in the Shell per se, but I tried to get into it as a kid, and it still had some of that, like, I don't know, like I said, like it's very dialogue heavy, and it's very like you gotta be locked in and heavy focus, and there's like political and ethical quarrels and things like that. It's just when you're like an 11-year-old kid who's staying up late to watch like Hamtaro, you know, Ghost of the Shell doesn't really check all the boxes, but the opening theme song Inner Universe is angelic. Like it's actually insane how gorgeous the entire arrangement is, and the visuals this was animation unlike like 3D animation that I had ever seen before, and it was like just the right amount of uncanny, because that's what the show is actually about, like prosthesis and cybernetics, and like what is like it, like the show basically lives in the uncanny valley, and this opening grasps that so ridiculously well. And then lyrically it's beautiful. Like I obviously don't speak Japanese, but as somebody who's obsessed with the song, you know, in my current day and age, I've looked into it extensively, and this is a masterpiece. And again, I really wanted to put it higher on my list, but this is where it wound up. It was higher on my list until some more recent additions in the past couple of years. But this has been, at one point in time, it was my top one. But there's been a lot of anime that have came out since back in the day when I literally used to stay up late just to catch this.
That's
like,
the intro.
Lucas, you said you would wake up in the middle of the, no, I would stay up for this intro. I would not go to sleep until I'd heard it, you know?
Dude, I remember I would wake up in the middle of the night to the Ghost in the Shell intro, and then I'd watch Ghost in the Shell, and then stay up to watch what is it, Super Milk Chan? If you guys remember that show. That fever dream of a Japanese animation. But yeah, like it's definitely that kind of, like I said, a lot of people always bring up the Inuyasha outro. That's, you know, as the one that woke up. No, it was Ghost in the Shell for me. Every time I'd wake up, I'd be like, and I'm like, what? So that brings me to number 6, the last of the earworms, the ones that just get stuck in my head. It is Otonoki by Creepy Nuts from Don to Don. I love this song. It goes from that trip hop almost feel to a more like yeah. And it's got that like I said, that trip hop feel to it, but then it goes into this like really sweeping it's almost, I don't want to call it a bridge because it's more of a reprise, but it goes into this like sweeping bridge that you always see the memes of, like me listening to Otonoki, and it's like them levitating. That's how it makes you. Yeah, it's transcendent. And if you listen to the words translated, actually, it fits the storyline of Don to Don. And as someone who's read the manga and has been manga current on Don to Don for almost 2 years now, it fits not only that first part of the story well, but even the later half of Don to Don as well, to a T. And I think it really encapsulates the relationship that is forming between Okura and Momo, the two main characters of the series. I know both of you have seen the anime. Yeah, I just think in 2024, it's definitely the best theme song to come out. I put Don to Don at the top of my list for anime of 2024, so there's a reason for that. It's not just the introduction, but the visuals to it, so iconic that people have been remaking other animes to the song in the visuals of the introduction. Like it's just like Asu. It's going to be one of those ones that for years people are gonna be like, yeah, but do you remember Otonoki? Like, you know what I mean? It's here in the pop culture lexicon, and I think it's gonna stay for a long time.
I think it says a lot that so many people had been talking so much about the Mashley season 2 opening that Creepy Nuts had done, and they just immediately right after one-upped it, and now I don't hear the Mashley one being talked about as much anymore.
Yeah. And I do want to say too,
so there's
just real quick, I was just gonna say, if you guys haven't, I would check out some of the other discography from Creepy Nuts that aren't anime openings. Follow on some of the best artists to come out of Japan lately. I'm more of a city pop kind of guy when it comes to Japanese music, but I really dig what Creepy Nuts is doing for rap in Japan.
Yeah, they have hit a stride unlike I've seen. I don't know, like to be able to execute just like viral track after viral track after viral track, and like with the power of you know, the internet being stronger than it has ever been before. When you go viral, it really means something, and this has completely taken the world by storm. I remember you put out a TikTok about it whenever the episodes were leaked, and like that shit got mad views, and
like almost 200k views, like 20k likes. Like, yeah, that one was one of my most viral TikToks. Yeah, then they removed the sound.
This is like this is an insane piece of music, and I really do vibe with it. It's not necessarily my preferred style, but I absolutely do respect it. I can see why this has become something that is so popular, and I don't know, maybe like they'll continue to keep putting out like work of this same kind of quality and keep getting hired to do more anime openings. But like I feel like Creepy Nuts is near the top right now as far as like what modern artists are doing for like I was mentioning about Otto and Lisa and stuff like you cannot talk about anime openings without these. Like if there's like a Mount Rushmore of like current, you know, anime opening artists that are like, I think they have solidified their spot, you know, because of their performance in 2024.
They almost remind me of Gorilla's first album, even with the Mashal theme song, because it was very, very trip hop influenced. In that I, being as massive of a Gorilla's fan as I am, I think that's why I'm drawn to them the way I am. But I agree. I think that they have cemented themselves in the modern Mount Rushmore of anime openings for sure. Believe that leads us to Bros, number 6. We are so close to hitting the top 5, boys.
At number 6, you had talked about it in honorable mentions, and I stayed tight-lipped because I wanted to talk about it. But it is Tell Me Why by Pen Pals from Berserk 97.
Let's go!
It is such a good...
Tell me why. Oh, wrong one. Sorry.
Well, yeah, like you said, I love the kind of 90s grunge, almost like 90s pop punk, like almost Green Day-esque sounding music with like out-of-tune vocals that doesn't really match it. It doesn't quite match how dark and grimy the Berserk series is, but it's still just such a good fucking song. And I remember watching this much too young when I was like 9-10 years old.
Same.
And I had forgotten Berserk existed or was a thing until someone had sent me a video. Like, oh yeah, this old shows on YouTube you can watch. And I was like, Berserk, I haven't watched that. And then as the second that intro comes on, it all came rushing back. The eclipse came rushing back. I was like, oh no, this is that show.
I remember.
and yeah, it's just a good fun tune.
Yeah, you mentioned the eclipse and my whole neck just throbbed. No, I actually had a very... Yeah, I have the giant mark of sacrifice on my... Yeah, but no, you mentioned that I had a very similar experience with the Berserk. I watched it probably when I was about 12 for the first time. And the first episode I saw was the one where Guts unalives the kid in the castle. Like during the raid.
King of the castle.
King of the castle, king of the castle. And then I didn't see any more after that. So then when I was like 14, one of my buddies was reading the manga and he's like, I can't finish this manga. It's too brutal, because he got into the eclipse. And I was like, like I gotta read this. Yeah, yeah. I was like, I gotta read this. That sounds awesome. And
wow.
Here we are in 2024, and I just read the most recent Berserk chapter like 2 days ago.
Oh, there's a new chapter? Hell yeah. This is the first like series piece of fiction where I found out, you know what? There isn't always a happy ending in a show or movie or story. It was such a brutal awakening for me.
Yeah, not to get theory crafting or anything, but I do think that Guts will get his happy ending. I think Miura had set that in place. But yes, there is a new chapter out for all you Berserk fans, and a new chapter is coming this week as well. We get 2 chapters in a row, which is something that hasn't happened in a long time. But yes, I agree. Berserk it's iconic, and the 97 anime especially deserves its spot in the pop culture lexicon. And Tell Me Why, banger of a theme song. Even if it doesn't fit the series, it's still it's almost like a false sense of security leading you into what you're about to experience, because it's like so poppy and just tell me what, and it's like, okay, yeah. And then it goes into what it is.
Ain't nothing but a... Oh, sorry.
Tell me why. Tell me why. They should use that as an anime opening.
I don't know, man. I guess that brings me to my number 6, right?
Mhm.
I didn't realize that I actually have 5 openings and 5 outros on my list. I did not do that on purpose, but this is another outro. And I wanted to include a few different songs from this specific series, but I had to land on this one because I actually listen to this every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, which if you listen to music with me, like I know Bro has, and like I know Cody, who's been vibing in the chat, and Dexter, who's in the chat, I don't like listening to songs on repeat. I feel like it's like it kind of spoils it for me. This is a song that I have listened to back to back to back to back before for like an hour straight because it's so soothing, and I was going through some shit. And it's never gone stale for me. This song has gotten me through things, and I love it, and I wanted to put it higher. I say that about everything in this list. I feel like, but I feel like 4, 5, and 6 are semi-interchangeable depending on the day. But this is my number 6 is Hana ga Saku Michi by The Charm Park, which is Black Clover's 7th outro. I think it's the 7th outro. This is such a mellow vibe, and like it's got just the craziest like soft-spoken vocals that take you by surprise, because a lot of Black Clover has like really high energy hype. This was like competing with like My Hero openings and outros and things like that, and like there's so much going on with anime and specifically shonen and like popular shonen at the time, and like Black Clover had been known for like Black Catcher and like Black Rover and like all these like really high energy tracks and things like that, and then this out of nowhere just completely lulls you and serenades you, and there's just like a full melodic bluesy like guitar solo that comes in, and like there's like almost like a whispered like chorus. Like it's so good. I could write a book about how much I love this song. It is phenomenal.
Yeah,
and I think that everybody should give it a listen to. Like, and I mean like a full turn the world off, put yourself into like a sensory deprivation chamber and like really immerse yourself, because it's an experience, and it's one that I cherish.
Yeah, you had sent this to us in chat before stream, and I did not get the chance to listen to it. So I think after this stream, I'm gonna have to shut off the world, because if you're giving it that high of a praise, I know you, I know your musical taste. I feel like it's something special.
Yeah, I don't even remember like the outro animation. I'm pretty sure it's literally just like a slideshow of like some black and white images of like Asta and Noelle and stuff like that. But but the song is so mesmerizing and just like entrancing. It's so good. It's gorgeous. It is actually something I would probably consider a masterpiece. And I don't know, man. The lyrics are just really, really amazing too. If you check them out translated, they are beautiful. The title translates into "The road where flowers bloom," and it's talking about walking different paths, and one day we will meet again. And it's so gorgeous. Like it's such a all around a beautiful piece of music. The animation could be good. I don't know. To me, like I don't even remember it. It's a non-factor, and completely discrediting like a fifth of the criteria. This still hits top 6 for me. So I think that says something.
Yeah, that does. That's high praise. We're now moving into everyone's top 5s. For my top 5, like I said, the first 5 in my list of my top 10 were more earworms, things that I listen to on repeat. The songs that I put in my top 5 are ones that mean something completely, like, to me, whether it be on an emotional level or just a nostalgia level or something of that effect. And for number 5, excuse me, sorry, I have Here by Juna from Ancient Magus Bride. I love this song, and I think that it reflects the character of Chise completely. And the start of it is kind of somber, and it builds up to this more almost like I'm grateful to be alive is a way you can interpret it, but you can also interpret it as I'm only live because of this one person. Like, there's so many ways that you could interpret the lyrics that are in the track, and not only that, but the track is just phenomenal.
It's a vibe.
It's a whole vibe, yeah. And the one thing I focus on the most when I'm listening to it is the vocals from Juna. Just her vocal control, her breath control, her way of fluctuating between notes and semitones and things like that in between her more whole notes and things. It's just, it's so beautiful. And her voice is almost, you can feel that when she sang this song, it was nothing but pure emotion. That whatever she had written this song about, even if it wasn't specifically for this anime, not only did it fit the anime, it was something very personal to her to sing this song. And I think that reflects well in every single time that I sit down and listen to it.
Yeah, I'll speak more on it.
I was just saying, I just shook Vex up.
No, I want to say a lot more, but we'll get there.
Hey, look, I told you it happened twice to us. I knew it was going to happen twice to us. Bro, that leads us to your number 5.
My number 5 is Pray by Tommy Heavenly 6. It is the very first opener for Gintama.
Yes.
Before I talk about it first, I think openings are important, but I think the most important opening for an anime is the very first one. And that's what I loved about this song in general, because it does capture Gintama and it kind of its essence. That, you know, the song itself makes me feel like I'm like on some spaceship just kind of floating through space. And the show Gintama is about this trio of friends who are kind of just floating through life and kind of on a day-to-day. And that's what the song also feels like. It just feels like what normal everyday life kind of feels like, and all the ups and downs of it.
That's kind of the vibe that I got from it when I was listening to it. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
Oh, no. It's just and it's also my kind of style of rock, J-rock, that I really dig and love. And Gintama was also one of the first shows I ever watched growing up on Toonami Cartoon Network. And I remember sneaking away to watch it, or I guess it wasn't really sneaking, because it would be when my parents were taking my brother and sister to soccer practice, and I was just at home by myself just chilling. So I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, Gintama time.
It's Gintama time. One of my favorite things is when Gintama fans will be like, what's this image from? And it'll be like Chopper's hat and horns, and you'll be like, One Piece. Like, no, that's a Gintama, baby.
It's such a ridiculous show. I feel like it deserves at least one watch through from any and all anime fans, because there are so many references and spoofs of all the famous animes, and there's so many jokes about One Piece. There's a whole episode where they're I wouldn't say they're mocking, but they're kind of spoofing Frieza's whole story and that arc. Like, it's just so much fun. Like, if you like anime, give Gintama a shot at least once all the way through.
If I had one huge regret in life, it's that I still haven't gotten all the way into Gintama. I've watched 3 episodes, and I think I just need to lock in, because there isn't a reliable, like, there's a dub, but it's like it starts like 70 episodes in or something. Like you have to watch the sub, and for me that is a bit of a taller order because your boy is legally blind. But this has been one of my blind spots in anime for way too long, and I need to lock in. And I think that I definitely have to like actually pay attention and like give this the time that I know it deserves, because I don't know if you've seen my anime list, but like, I'm not even lying, like 14 or 15 of the top 50 anime entries are all Gintama. It's crazy.
And I think what is kind of hard to get into Gintama is that it is very episodic. It's not like Naruto or One Piece or any of these other animes where there's, you know, a whole, you know, hundreds episode arc. Every episode's kind of contained. So there's lots of hits. There's a lot of misses, and you just gotta like reshift your mindset to be like, okay, this is more just like anime South Park, you know?
Yeah. It's every time I like Vex. Me and him actually watched the first 3 episodes together. I think I need to lock into it and like really give it some time
honestly,
to take off.
The first 3 episodes are probably some of the worst in the series.
I mean, we were laughing, like we laughed throughout it.
Yeah.
But I have to agree. I think we need to lock into it because it's a cultural phenomena in Japan, and I know a lot of people who recommend it and say that it's like one of the best animes of all time. So I'd really love to give it the time and attention it deserves.
And when they stop doing the comedy and getting some more emotional, sadder parts, holy crap, you'll cry.
Oh, let's go! I love crying.
They know how to tug at your heartstrings and hit you with those deeper moments.
Yeah, that's legitimately one of my favorite things about animes, those emotional moments. So that gives me something to look forward to with it too. Vex, what's your number 5, baby?
Hell yeah. So like I said, number 4, 5, and 6 are semi-interchangeable for me, and they are actually all outros. And this one hits me just as hard as the previous one. It's kind of a completely different vibe, still very somber, but it's actually it's called Glitter Starving Trancer Remix by Mayumi Morinaga, and this is Fairy Tail's like 20th outro or something. And I'm not gonna sit here and try to sell everybody on Fairy Tail. It's a very hard recommendation to get something like it, especially these days, but like this is one of the best anime outros I think I've ever seen of all time, hence why it's in my top 5 for the most part. And it's like, I don't know, when this started playing, like there's a few Fairy Tail intros and outros where I was like, yeah, this is kind of a bop, but I didn't really take it seriously, and I was just watching it for hype and cool fight scenes and like the power of friendship and shit like that. And then this song came on, and I don't know, man, this song alone got me emotionally invested in characters that before I really didn't give a shit about. And this song is something I listen to on a daily basis, and there's like I don't know, it's like a trance, you know, like it's like electronic, like dance music. Like it's actually like, this is something I could actually see somebody like, you know, putting on it like a big like festival or something. Like it's just like, it's a completely different vibe from what I get from a lot of other like anime openings or outros. And the lyrics are just like so crazy different from what you would come to expect from like a show that's as hype and fan servicey and like power of friendship as Fairy Tail. And I'm just like, wait, did I just like get teleported like to a completely different dimension? Like what is happening right now? Because the song is about like leaving a decaying world behind and like having the memories of like everything that you've lost and stuff like that. I'm just like, yeah, the part of the story where this starts to play, that's not really good. So it doesn't encapsulate the vibe of the show at all, but as a standalone piece of music, it is it's insanely good. Like it has no right being this good for a Fairy Tail outro. Like it astounds me to this day. But it's like I can't help but tap my toe and like, you know, kind of bob my head every single time it comes on. It's actual, like the lyrics are like legitimate poetry. It's really, really, really well done. And I can't find the original. I can only find the remix. It's what it's called, is the Starving Trancer remix of a song called Glitter. I can't find the original anywhere. If you can, leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment. Send the link in the chat.
I would love to hear the original, please.
Bloodu in the chat said that he's been watching Gintama. He started a month ago and he's already on episode 58 and is loving it. And he said, shit was so good, I had to make a video on it.
Let's go.
My man, I feel you. I did the same thing with Ancient Magus Bride. I was like, I have to make a video on this. Yeah, I'm going to have to give that one a listen as well. I'm not the biggest fan of Black Clover. I've not given it a fair shot, though, I will say that. And my wife is wanting to start it with me. Apparently, she's watched quite a bit of it. And I've been wanting to get into it with her.
This one's from Fairy Tail.
Oh, I meant Fairy Tail. My bad. I knew you said Fairy Tail. I don't know why I said Black Clover instead. Probably because both shows I haven't watched.
That was the previous one. Yeah.
That was the
I think they're
previous
both
one. You're right.
worth. If you are into long running shonen, I think that Black Clover has done a lot right. Like some people call it like a Naruto clone and stuff like that. And like for me personally, I was like, yo, it saw what like the formula was and where other shows had gone wrong. And I feel like it chose to not tread in those same like errors, you know, like, and so there's a lot that Black Clover has done very right. People's complaints about the show, like, and the manga, I think are honestly kind of trivial, and I think it's really, really good. With Fairy Tail, I absolutely love Fairy Tail, but I also absolutely hate it. So it's a mixed bag. Like I can't think of another show that I adore and despise to the same degree as Fairy Tail. It's actually crazy. But I think it's worth watching though. If you got nothing else to put on and you're a fan of like long running shonen, it's definitely worth it.
I've heard the read is pretty good as well.
I would have no idea.
No,
I have not
read
read
manga? Okay.
Black Clover. I've read Black Clover. I have not read Fairy Tail at all.
Fair enough. So that brings us to my number 4, which is all of us to us, dream save us. Us to all of us. It's Us by Hiroshi Kitadani. Just like you had said, bro, this just encapsulates what One Piece is to me. And it almost feels like, if you look at the lyrics, a sequel narratively to We Are, and like the way that it goes. And he's talking about finally finding that legendary treasure and leaving your inhibitions behind and like coming together as like you're already together as a group. Now you share these dreams. Like, it's really, really well done. And like you had said earlier, it's this really electrifying sound that he comes in with. And having that with the almost oral-esque vocals chanting the all of us, dream save us, like in the background as he's hitting one of the greatest notes I've ever heard in my life. Us to all of it. I'm not going to try. But it's some of his best work, and like you had said, vexyz, he aged like fine wine when it comes to songwriting. I've convinced myself, and I have a theory in the works on this, that he knows more about the story than what he tells us, and Oda and him are like, let's write this song together. And I'm gonna predict, I'm gonna predict
like he
what's
wrote
going
it like
on.
minutes after writing We Are. Like he's just like he sat down just immediately after he penned We Are, and then just went right into writing All of Us. Like it just...
I don't think that there could ever be a better song to introduce the final saga in such a masterpiece that is One Piece than Us.
I heard from a little birdie that told me, and that birdie's name is SSJ8 Cody. We love you, brother. But I heard from a little birdie that it has been stated by Hiroshi Kitadani that it is his dream to write and perform the last opening for One Piece. So
dude,
I can't wait to see.
I will cry.
I can't wait to see if he can
years?
top himself. But the bar is set so high. 20 years is crazy. But you're probably not wrong. But that's like, I think it. Not only did he strike gold, and the entire like ensemble composition and like arrangement of the song is flawless. It's so well done. Every single aspect of it is pumped up to an 11. Not
Even
only
the music video.
is that the case, as far as it musically, exactly. I was gonna say Megumi Ishitani storyboarded this and did such a phenomenal job. There are people who have done frame by frames, and there's just so much life and color and movement and just like vividness that has been packed into the animation. It's
attention to detail.
Give her a movie, please.
Yeah, give her a One Piece movie.
Please.
You heard us all. Give her a fan letter movie, and we get to see other events from citizens of the One Piece world. I want that. I want that so bad. Please, Toei. But no, and like you're saying, that attention to detail, it just goes to show that the people working on this series, it's an honor to them. It's something that they love. It's something that has been ingrained in them probably since childhood. And I guarantee her getting to work on an opening by the man who did We Are and We Go.
Yeah, who she probably watched as a kid.
Exactly. Hearing that song on the TV as a child and then getting to animate for the person who sang that song later in life, it's probably a mind-blowing experience. But yeah, I think Us is definitively, it encapsulates what makes One Piece One Piece. But not only that, it encapsulates the Egghead Island arc as it is. Mm-hmm. I will avoid spoilers for anime onlys, of course. But it fits so well to what that is and what the message of that, especially like with Vegapunk and everything, of that arc is. It's peak. There's no other way to say it. It's just a peak song. The horns, the guitar work, like everything about it is just amazing. Bitty, in the chick, here to the girl, One Piece. Sorry.
Oh my god.
Bro, that brings us to your number 4.
Number 4, I have Blizzard by Burnout Syndrome's It's the opening for Those Snow White Notes. Sorry, but man, it's a nice, beautiful slice of life about this shamisen player who goes through a little bit of depression and can't quite find his sound. And I think this opening, good, hard, heavy rock and roll with some nice, fast, heavy shamisen being played over in the middle of. It's just a fun tune. I love the shamisen. I love me some fast, hard rock and roll. And I've also have had the opportunity to see Burnout Syndrome's live in concert.
Ooh,
they've done multiple other intros like Fly High from Hockey. I think they've done 2 for Haikyuu. They've done the Good Morning World from Dr. Stone, and yeah, I probably should have given them their own honorable mentions because they have done so many openings throughout anime, and I have listened to them regularly, listened to their non-anime stuff as well, and just a good time.
I think that's a really telling. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, you put me on to a few different other tracks more recently. We've been jamming out in Discord calls and stuff like that, and I knew Good Morning World because I watched the first couple of I think they did 2 different Dr. Stone openings, but yeah, I was familiar like only on the surface level, but there's a lot more greatness there, and I'm super grateful for you introducing me into the Burnout Syndromes because it is actually fire.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's very telling for an anime opening and the band that performs it if you can go into the other parts of their discography, like I mentioned with Creepy Nuts earlier, but also the Pillows. Like I've listened to almost every single Pillows album that has come out ever because of FLCL, and I think it's very telling to how well an opening is composition wise or impact wise on a person if they can do that, if they can branch out into the other parts of this artist catalog. I'm not familiar with this, but I'm not gonna lie, this sounds right up my alley anime wise. Please send me the title of this. I need to watch this. This sounds awesome. I love the shamisen.
Those Snow White Notes, the great anime, great slice of life. If you're a musician, highly recommend watching it because I know every musician at one point in time has gone through this struggle at one point or another.
Yeah, big facts. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check it out.
Also, the concert was a strange experience because I had not been to a concert yet where I was the oldest person in the room, and it felt weird.
That's fair.
That's so funny though.
That was Mia Gorillas, and I was crying the whole time, so it probably made it awkward for all those kids there.
Yeah, if you guys are watching this live, you're goated. Make sure you like the stream. If you're watching this in the future, if you don't vibe with what bro just said, you will someday. Yeah,
you will. One day.
It's very crazy being the oldest person in the room, and you're just like, man. But
Crazy.
My number 4 is another outro. And again, like I said, 4, 5, 6 kind of interchangeable. This one is probably the one that means the absolute most to me, though, because of the series that it is attached to, as well as the place where I was when I first heard it. And I was going through a whole lot. I'll save you guys the whole tragic backstory, but this is one of the most important times in my life for me to be accepting new media and just like latching on to like a new outlet, and that outlet was Hunter x Hunter. So number 4 is Hiyori Itai by Yuzu, which is the last 2 outros to the 2011 anime, and it's so phenomenal. Yeah, so like they loved it so much. It's so nice they used it twice, and it's 2 different verses each time. It is haunting how gorgeous the little I literally could write a book on this. I know when SSJ Cody hears that I put this so high on my list, he's gonna absolutely like do a backflip. It's one of the most beautiful tracks I've ever heard. I love it. The visuals are astounding as well, and it really does encapsulate a lot of what the last major arc, as well as like what follows. The entire vibe, like what we were mentioning about Departure earlier, it doesn't fully capture the whole vibe of Hunter x Hunter because it does evolve into so much more of a story. I think Hiyori Itai does that perfectly. And it actually, like, the lyrics are actually, when you translate them, it's talking about 2 sides of the same coin. And if you know, but like, yeah, the last major large arc in the Hunter x Hunter anime, it's just so
it's hard.
Well, the lyrics of this song are so crazy how well they fit with so many of the themes that have been going on in the background the entire time throughout the entire story of Hunter x Hunter, but they really come to light in those final chapters. And this song, it almost comes out of nowhere and just hits you like a train with how amazing it is.
Yeah. Perfect segue though, because number 3 for me is Departure by Masatoshi Ono from Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, it's but just to speak back on that a little bit, I have to agree, especially with the juxtaposition or the placement in the Chimera Ant arc, which I won't speak too much on because I do have a rambling addiction coming up on it. But I think that
I heard you have 2, actually.
I do. Yes, it's going to be a 2-parter, guys. It's the biggest rambling addiction I've done yet. But straight up, I think that with Maorium and his storyline and the way that it goes, and the things we learn about the Chimera Ant and their relevance to humans, I think that it is one of the most fitting outros for an anime I've ever seen. Yeah. But to speak on my number 3, Departure, this is going to be kind of cheesy and sappy because I do agree with you guys. I don't think it fits the entire series, especially the later arcs such as Chimera Ant. But it encapsulates that sense of adventure, like you guys had said when mentioning it in your honorable mentions, so well that it strikes a chord in you. But the reason that Departure is so high on my list is because now, every single time that I hear that song, I don't only think of the amazing sensation of getting to watch Hunter x Hunter for the first time, I also get to experience all those memories of sitting with both of you and SSJ, Cody, and Kube, and Dexter all popping in and out while I watch Hunter x Hunter and just having some of the best times that I've had in recent years. So it's very sentimental to me now, and I listen to it almost every single day, if not every single day.
I respect that. It's Hunter x Hunter just does something,
It does. Like it's in my top 3 now.
It has like it is so emotionally evocative of like so many different things. It's like, it's very complex and nuanced, and Togashi is absolutely great. And I do think that Hiyori Itai, as well as Departure, did such a good job of depicting like the 2 sides of that same coin, so this was really the perfect segue.
Like bro had said earlier, it will forever be burned into my memory. Us all, you can smile again. Like, in the middle of the VC, just like sometimes I would forget to skip intro because like usually I would just watch the intro on the first episode we were watching of the night and the last episode of the night. But sometimes I would just forget, and the next thing you know, like 9 dudes are in VC singing along, all out of sync with each other because they're watching the stream. Like that's just it's a special place in my heart now.
It lasted 150 some odd episodes,
exactly,
where like I just like you can literally like watch the entire like Hunter x Hunter anime, and I don't think I would ever get tired. I've done a rewatch through twice in 2024 and 2025 so far, twice in the past like year and some change, and I would literally don't think I could ever get sick of this song. I love it. So goated pick.
Amazing. Yes. We in the top 3 now, boys. Bro, what you cooking with?
Number 3 is Go by Flow from Naruto.
Let's go.
So, which has been changed. The name has been changed by the community to simply just the chorus, Fighting Dreamer. I think the song perfectly encapsulates what Naruto is, because they are quite literally fighting dreamers. And it's just a fun tune. I remember sometime in college, I got into a little bit of a depression, and one of the things I would do to cheer myself up was listening to Go by Flow, and quite literally doing a Naruto run around my kitchen and just acting a fool, dude. And it's just such a good fun song. We love that. And again, really it's another one of those songs. Bouncy. It's so bouncy, it's so fun, it's so uplifting, and it's just right in my wheelhouse for the kind of J-rock that I vibe with.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I'm familiar with this one. I think I switched to the manga before I got to this.
Yeah,
whack.
Of all of the Naruto openings, like I do think that vibes alone, this one is still top 3 for me, right up there next to Bluebird. It's not my number 1. I didn't actually include my number 1 because I just kind of honorable mentioned all Naruto openings, but this is so respectable. When homie's just like right here, right now, boom! Like there's such vibes, dude. And like then that like sick little guitar bend,
yes,
and then
dude.
You get like just like the bright, bubbly like first verse coming in, and like it's the chorus is like actually the catchiest thing I think I might have ever heard. Like this is such a goated pick, and it's like it's memed on a lot. Like I remember there was like the meme going around. It's like when she asks, "What are we?" and you go, "We are fighting." But it's like this is what I think of whenever I think of like some of the most goated anime openings of all time, and like it's right there in the front row as far as like Naruto openings, and Naruto openings do kind of eclipse a lot of it, because like a lot of people don't know anime, but a lot of people do know Naruto, and so it's for a large chunk of the population, this is all they have, and I think I'm actually okay with that because it's so goated,
I have to say, the entire time you were talking, Vex, me and bro, I don't know how we did it, but we kept syncing up our head nods, like agreeing with what you were saying. Like we were both like at the same exact, and it kept making me laugh because I wasn't meaning to do it; it just kept happening. I definitely think I need to give this one a listen. Then I have to ask, what part of the story is it from, though? Because I do want to avoid spoilers.
I'm pretty sure it's from OG Naruto. So you've already
before Shippuden.
I believe so. Let me double check.
I'll put together a whole playlist, and Lucas, you and I need to do a deep dive, because it is such a disservice to yourself as a person who is getting through Naruto for you to not have seen Naruto openings. I know you've seen some of them, but like I said, there's like over 50 of them, and there's not that many that aren't worth
listening to,
putting on a list similar to this. Yes, they are, so many of them are so good.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it then. That's what I did with Bleach. When I finished Bleach's manga, I went through and listened to like every opening from Bleach. Opening 13 is the best, by the way. Vex, hit us with that number 3, baby.
This is one that Lucas had already spoken a little bit about, and it is Here by Juna.
Yes.
And I wanted to include a different track by Juna for the same anime, Ancient Magus Bride. Specifically for season 2, part 2, there's Nemurasate Lineage,
Yes.
which is also by Juna. It's so good, but
Phenomenal.
something that Bro had said earlier really did strike a chord with me when I was making this list before he had even like said that, and before we were even live. It was that there's so much importance to an anime opening, but the most important one is the first one, and this is the first opening for Ancient Magus Bride season 1, and it is insane how many times I've listened to this song. The like, I don't know, the flamenco style guitar and like her vocals and like how rhythmic and melodic, like it's so crazy. There's like castanets in the background, and like it's just like such a crazy ensemble, and it really does encapsulate almost like a foreign vibe, because it's a lot more of like a European based like folklore, that the anime is kind of centered around, as opposed to like yokai and like Shinto belief structure and like kamis and like other Japanese folklore and stuff like that. So it really fits that, and it does fit Chise Hattori as a character, and it also fits like it's there's so much that's perfection about it. And if you're watching the opening animation, at first it's just like one character who is animating in front of a black backdrop. And then once the song really starts to pick up, you can see element by element new things coming into the fold around her that will start to paint this whole blank canvas. And that is like essentially what the show is about at first, is this character figuring out who she really is and coming out of the darkness. And by the end of the song, the animation is full of these just crazy popping, like bright, vibrant colors that are almost like attacking your senses. And it's just like, it is so crazy how transformative the experience of watching this is, especially if you know what the show really gets into and whatnot. Like it sneaks up on you in a way. Like at first the song really does hit, but knowing everything that once you get through season 1 and then all the way through season 2 as well, and going back, it hits like 5 times as hard.
Yeah, I'd say 20 times. It's insane.
Yeah. I absolutely love it. And I've seen other people do like full 40-minute breakdowns on how amazing the opening animation and song are. And I won't do that here. I think I've already spoken more than enough about it. But if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It is one of the most magnificent songs I think that has ever been crafted. The full-length version is also really, really good.
Yeah. When she hits that vocal run, dude, where she's like, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, and then like like it's so just like the way that she dances almost with her vocals that's the only way she's dancing to that flamenco and that castanet. It's perfection.
I was honestly so upset when we got to the second intro for season 1 because it wasn't Juna. And then in season 2, after waiting 6 long years to get season 2, and we finally got it, and Juna did both of the openings for season 2, I was so vindicated. I was it was worth the wait. It was worth over half a decade of being on the edge of my seat. But it's such a great experience, and her as an artist, absolute peak. So goated.
Now that I'm caught up, I fear that we're gonna have to wait another 6 years for season 3. Like, I'm so worried about it.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah, like, I'm ready for more Ancient Magus Bride. No, I'm a Berserk fan. I'm used to it, but like,
just wait till you're caught up with the Hunter manga.
Listen, I've been nursing the chapters. I'm gonna be honest, so I'm so worried about being caught up. Man. This leads us to my number 2. Getting down to the end, y'all. So number 2 for me is Lilium by Kumiko Noma from Elfen Light. it starts out with this very haunting bell, like a tubular bell, and it's an operatic vocal that matches that bell with, like, that's how she finds her pitch for the song. And then the piano is very subtle to it, but the whole thing is an operatic piece in Latin. And if you've seen Elfin Light, the way that it fits with Lucy in the inner conflict that she feels, being what she is, which is let's be real, a monster to what humans would perceive as. It's just so well done, and it's one of those songs like Gatsu that it resonates to you as a human being. Like, it just, if I'm ever in a bad mood, it's one of my go-tos besides Gatsu. Like, I will put this on to try to get the feeling, whatever I'm feeling inside me, out if I can't find the words or I'm not fitting the emotion correctly. It's one of those openings that haunts you. Like, I barely remember the plot of Elfin Lied because of how long ago I watched it, but I can remember every single detail of this opening. And it goes to show just how powerful of an opening it is.
Yeah, I see Elfin Lied on so many people's, top recs. I need to get on that.
I'm about to do a rewatch of it because in research for this list, when I was getting everything together, I'll also shout out the homie Smokey, Grand Line Bound in the chat. But in getting this list together, I was listening to this because I knew I was going to put it on my list. I just didn't know where. And I was like, man, I really need to dive back into Elfin Lied. Like I said, I think the last time I watched it was like 13 years ago, like when I was like 19, But I do highly recommend it. It's a violent series, but as someone who's seen Berserk, I mean, you don't. And it sounds like you're caught up on the manga as well. Like the violence has its place in the story. But yeah, it's definitely worth the watch. Like and subscribe.
If you're feeling the vibe.
If you're feeling the vibe, like and subscribe.
Shout out Randy Troy.
Yeah, shout out Randy Troy. Season 2 of the Opla better be good.
Wait, there's a live action?
Oh my god.
You can't escape it.
I cannot.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Smokey, Otonoki was my number 6. Yeah, my boy knows what's up. That's what's up. Bro, that leads us to your number 2.
All right, number 2 is Ohio by Kino, the opening for the 1999 version of Hunter x Hunter.
This was a bop.
This is such a good song. The video, the visuals, the song, it just perfectly captures going off on his own adventure and meeting his now lifelong friends with Leorio, Kurapika, and most importantly Killua. And you just see them in that like, I guess, video in the opening. You just see them all together. The music just perfectly captures just like friendship and them going on this adventure together. And whenever I listen to the song and watch the opening together, I've just my heart's filled. Like, I'm just like, oh, look at my guys, look at my 4 kings together. And the song itself is just the bop. It is so much fun to jam to and just like be bouncing along to it.
Yeah, it's when you sent this in the chat for this stream, I had not listened to it because I've not watched any of the 1999 Hunter x Hunter anime. I've seen some clips here and there, but I listened to this 2 times back to back. Like, I listened to it the first time, then another time, then another time. Like, it's just so, it's like you said, it's almost, I wouldn't say it's better than Departure because of the placement I have Departure at, but like, yeah, it's in the running, right? Like, it's catchy, it's got the vibe, like you said, it's got the 4 kings right there, and it fits the mood. It's very, very well done. It's very 90s anime, but in like the best way possible.
I'm just so happy to have been able to spit for as long as we have. We've been going for like 2.5 hours with 2 absolute kings who also have Hunter x Hunter like tracks in their top 5 and actually rated higher than I did. Like, y'all are truly my people. Like, I respect this so much.
Oh, Vex. See me after stream, baby. No, so
Okay, wild.
Vex, do you have anything to say on the 1999 opening of Hunter x Hunter?
I could literally write books on, like, I'm good. Like, I think that, you know, bro did a great job of encapsulating, like, it's a full vibe. I think it does do a better job in some aspects than Departure does as a standalone intro. And I have not delved too much into the 99 anime myself. I'm a 2011 guy, but I think it's definitely, like, depending on how long it takes for us to get more chapters, and if I start fiending, because I did just come off of a fresh watch through with someone in this call, then I might have to go and rewatch through, or I might have to go and give the 99 version like a full
Listen, I'm down.
Watch through. Yeah.
The design of it,
Yeah,
like the
it's
whole
just-
like vibe of the animation to it, I'm very intrigued by it.
I think there's a connection between the director of the 99 version and I think the director of Tokyo Ghoul, maybe, or something like that.
Mhm.
Something like that. He takes definitely a darker spin in some aspects, which some people say doesn't quite fit Hunter x Hunter, but I enjoy it because it is just more 90s animation, and I'm just a sucker for it.
Yeah.
Vex, I believe you were saying something before we both kind of got excited about Hunter x Hunter 99. Welcome to Rambling Addiction, bro.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think that like it just comes from a different era than, like, with the 2011. Like, I can understand why they decided to go with the art style that they did.
Yeah.
Kind of similarly to how, like, with the Studio Wit version of the One Piece, they're going with a more streamlined approach, and that will serve the test of time a little bit better, because the, you know, other shows that have been going on since 99, like, you know, One Piece, they have adapted their animation style, and so it's like I can understand why the 2011 chose to do what they did, but I do really honestly respect what the 99 version did aesthetically as well. And I don't know, that's something that's pretty high up on my list, but I literally just rewatched through Hunter x Hunter. Like, I gotta wait a little bit before I do that.
The good news, though, is that it only goes to York New City, so you won't have to watch.
So what about the Greed Island OVAs? Tell me more about the Greed Island OVAs. He's like, no,
Just
I
skip,
won't.
just skip them.
Oh my goodness. But no, it's like I said, if it takes too long for chapters to come out for our next like batch, if Tagashi, I hope you're doing well. But then I if I start fiending, I'll definitely hit y'all up, and we'll have to do a watch through of that soon. But I do feel like after listening to it that it does really capture the vibe well.
Yeah,
probably better than the Departure does, but I don't know if, like, Departure just has such a high place in my heart. You know what I mean?
Same.
But I
For
could,
sure.
I feel like we could do like a whole stream just talking about Hunter x Hunter. I feel like, so I want to move on to my number two. And we had actually talked about this quite some time ago, and I'm sure Lucas had forgotten, but we haven't gotten to it yet, which means it has to be in the top two, and it is my number two, and that is Haru by Yorushika.
Let's go.
Which is the second opening for Frieren Beyond Journey's End. This song moved mountains for me mentally. Like, it's such a crazy experience, and like I thought it was recency bias at first, and I've had over a year to cook on it now, and like this is one of the most important pieces of like music that has been tied to anime that I think has been released in my lifetime. And it's like, it means a whole lot to me. I absolutely adore this song, every little thing about it. I love the like whimsical like tonality that you get from like it's like a jazzy guitar. It has like a really interesting cadence. Once you like, if you listen to the full version, not just the anime intro version, like there's like a whole crazy little jazz break, and it's like, dude, it's so good. Like, this song is a 100 out of 10. Every single measure is flawless. I think it's astounding. I haven't even spoken on the animation, which is amazing. But like, this is this might be in my top 5 favorite songs of all time.
Oh wow.
Of course, it's gonna be very, very high on my list as far as like anime intros or outros.
Yeah. Like I had said, it's just, I think the emotion that is in the song is really what takes it. And looking at like the translated lyrics as well, it hits.
Mhm.
And then
It's talking
knowing the
about-
story. Oh, yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I won't speak too much on Freerin in case a certain reaction guy is lurking, you know. But I just hearing these lyrics, like I don't speak Japanese, but like looking into it and reading along with it and everything, it's talking about going through the seasons as the years pass by, and it's talking about like you can't control the weather, you can't control like time, and like you could just control how you react to it, in a sense, is like kind of what I get out of the lyrics. And they say so much in so little, and it's just, there's like this somber and this whimsy about it that is it. They're just doing such a delicate like walk of the tightrope, and it is immaculate. It is such a phenomenal piece of music, and I think a lot of people appreciate it. I know a lot of people who really do vibe with the song, but like listen to the full song and like really like get yourself immersed in there. And like I'm saying, this is a crazy piece of music.
Yeah, it is. It's wild that you said that was your interpretation of it, because that's exactly the message I thought the song was trying to portray, is that like even when you cannot feel the sun, be the sun that you want. Like, you know what I mean? Be the sun. Like, yeah, when those emotions, like when things are overwhelming and things aren't the best of times, or like this, be the person that you want to be, even in the good times and things like that. So I find it very telling that both of us kind of picked up on the same a similar message from it. And like you had said, not to spoil anything from Period, obviously, but the more the story goes on, the song fits. It rolls really well with the whole series.
Yeah,
I think.
And like you were saying, like be the light and be the sun if there isn't one. And it's like you could, because you have just as much power to be sad and like add to the rain, you know, like crying like is like those tears also symbolize like raindrops and things like that, and like to clear away, which is another translation of like haruhe, like, which is, so like it's so crazy how deep this song goes. And like I said, like it literally moved mountains for me mentally. This song is like therapy to me, and I absolutely cannot get enough of it.
Beautifully said, man. Beautifully said. Cannot agree with you more. I know it was lower in my listings, but it is a very very well written and amazingly performed song. So this brings us on to top ones. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say I don't know how I slept on the Freeman openings, because I know I enjoyed them. I know I loved them. I know Freeran in general is probably my top 10, if not top 15 animes of all time. And for some reason, I don't know how those openings slipped, and I'm kind of kicking myself for it.
Yeah. I felt the same way when I finished the series, is actually when I went back and listened to it, because I was like, man, there was one opening that I remember like caught my attention, but I didn't like get into it, and it was that one. And then, like I said, it's been in almost every single one of my playlists since then. But yeah, guys, we're in it. The top ones. My number one is Again by Yui from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I think this is...
Oh man.
I think
Don't
I'm
set
gonna
me
start
off.
rewatching tonight.
Brotherhood. I convinced my wife to finally watch it with me, and I'm waiting. We have like 2 more episodes of The Walking Dead, and then we're watching it. My wife. But no, this song, like, it gives me the vibe of like, it gives me the vibe of almost like the Pixies, because she starts out like really soft, and then she does that heavy ass riff, that, but then she goes right back into like a very, very soft, verse that builds up into this like extremely powerful chorus. I actually gave away my number one choice with the thumbnail for this video, which is Winry Rock Bell from the visuals of the opening. I just think that the visuals of this also sell this as my favorite opening. I listen to this song at least once a day, and that's not like exaggeration or anything. Since I watched this anime when it first came out, I've listened to this song, I'd say, almost once a day. There's probably bouts where not that much, but I would safely say that. I just think composition-wise, it's perfect. Lyric-wise, perfect. Like it hits that itch, like you'd been saying, bro, with the J-Rock. This is that J-Rock. I like that alternative, and she does such a phenomenal. There's an acoustic version of this as well where she just fucking kills it, man.
Oh, I didn't realize there's an acoustic version.
Oh yeah, you gotta check it out. It's so good. And like I said, with the visuals,
before
and like, yes,
I was just saying, before you asked us to I'm sorry, after you asked us before I saw a thumbnail, I knew for a fact this would be probably your top one, if not top 5. So I specifically excluded it from my honorable mentions because Yui has done several other like intros as well. So I was gonna do another like, you know, how I did for like Otto and Lisa and Asian Kung Fu Generation. But like I knew after seeing the thumbnail, like, oh yeah, that's his top one. Like I'm not gonna mention it.
You know me too well, man. You saw that and you're like, yep, that's Lucas telling the audience what's what. But no, I just think like the visuals, like I always, every time I hear this song, I can't not see in my head, you know, the flash cut of Ed in losing his arm, and then it cuts to Al and his whole body disappears, and it cuts to Winry and she gets shaken by the force of the impact of what's happening. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Spoilers.
In general, oh my god, his brother lost his body. He bound him to a suit of armor. No, in general, it's widely considered like one of the an example of a perfect anime. Now it does have its weak points and stuff like that. Every anime does, but I think what makes Full Metal Alchemist perfect is this amazing blend of not only this opening but the rest of its openings. The soundtrack, like the score, like I said, it was my second in score placement, and just the overall themes of it. What does it mean to be human? And it's got this very almost existential vibe to it, and I don't know why, but this song, it represents that to me. It represents everything that Full Metal Alchemist is. And I thought this fit better than any of the openings in the original anime or any of the openings that came after it as well. So that's why, again, Bayue is number 1 for me.
No, you said it. It's I can't argue or say anything else. If someone has that as their number 1, I completely, even though it's not my number 1, I still agree.
Yeah. It's just, it's so good, man. Like I said, those I'm a sucker for soft vocals into like hard hitting chorus. Like that's one of my favorite, like I mentioned the Pixies. They're really one of the first bands to bring that to the forefront. You know, think of Where Is My Mind, very soft, or that one specifically has hard verses that go into a soft chorus. But then you listen to songs like, what is it? Hey, where it's a very, very soft, melodic kind of chorus, and then it goes into that with that Black Francis voice that I can't do. But yeah, man, it's very well done, and it tickles every part of my brain that I want an anime opening to tickle. Bro, hit me with it. What's that number 1?
Well, I had said they'd be on here twice, and we've only done one of them, so that only leaves for my number 1, We Are by Hiroshi Kitadani for One Piece. I don't think I really need to talk much about it. It's just I said a little earlier that it's not just that I think openings are important. It's just that I think the very first opening is the most important. And I loved this. I loved One Piece from episode 1, but part of what hooked me on it was this intro, this opening song. it's just such a great song. It perfectly sets up and captures everything that One Piece is. It's One Piece in a song. The feeling you get watching the show, watching this little stretchy pirate sail around the entire world on his fun adventure, this comedic adventure. And man, there's just nothing else left to say. The music is spot on. It feels great to listen to. It's uplifting. I love the vocals. I love hearing Luffy's voice actress sing it at like whenever she does like panels and
Yes.
things. It's
Hell
just
yeah.
such a good song, and it. I think why it's the best opening because yeah, some of that 97 or 99 animation for a show just getting started is a little shoddy at times, but still, it's just a great song that I don't even care about it.
He's like, I don't even care. No, I have to agree, man. It's when I first started watching One Piece, the first few episodes I won't lie, like it was good. I enjoyed it, but it didn't hook me. But one thing I never skipped was that intro because it's just so iconic. Whether you're listening to sub or dub, like it's a banger, dude. Like, ugh. I can't get over it. And the lasting effect of it as well. If you're watching an episode of One Piece currently, even to this day, and they change the opening to "We Are," you know you're in for some kind of special treat that's going to sum up exactly why everyone loves One Piece.
Yeah, we said so much about We Are when we over at the Eternal Dawn did our openings tier list and ranking. Lucas, you should put a link to that in the description whenever we get wrapped up here. But it was I can't say enough about it. Like you guys spoke, wonderfully about it, and I do hold it in such crazy high regard, as well as all of the rest of Kitadani's work. I think that it's phenomenal. It's iconic. Might be possibly the most iconic of all time. I respect it at a number one spot. I just love because not a lot of people say much about the animation, but the little bouncing going Mary, that is just so cute. And it's like bouncing across the map. You know what I mean? It's like one of my favorite things about it. It's so adorable. But yeah, it is really goated, and it's crazy how that guy can just strike gold over and over and over again. And yeah, I'm getting chills just thinking about how he might top himself if
For
he
the
is
final
actually
song,
able to do the
yeah.
last one. 'Cause, yeah. Hey, chill, bro.
Pause.
Ain't no way. Moving and trying to be heartfelt and shit.
He's like, I love Hiroshi Kaninari, and you're just like, oh
man, oh my god. Well, mine is much more melancholy and like
Fair
somber, which is my whole list has kind of been similar to that. But my number one is probably my second favorite song of all time, not even just including anime openings and outros or anything like that. And it's from my probably like top 5. Like I think right now I currently have it at my number 5 slot as far as like my favorite anime, and the manga that the anime was adapted from is currently my number 1 manga of all time, and it is Land of the Lustrous. The opening is called Kyomen no Nami by Eureka, and this is such a crazy piece of music. It's almost like it's literally like, think of like a Rube Goldberg machine. Like it's just like a series of contraptions, and like the little marble starts rolling and then knocks over a domino, and then that cuts a tripwire, and then there's just like the layers of complexities that all start to subtly build on top of each other to make this like constructed masterpiece. Once you get to like the actual peak of like the song's progression, it's actually insane. I think this is one of the best written pieces of music that's ever existed, I think it's such a phenomenal performance, and the lyrics are absolutely devastating. Like,
Wow.
especially like I don't know because when the anime came out, it was 2017. The manga was not finished yet. The manga actually just finished in May of 2024, so last year. But now knowing everything that I know, and I'm not going to spoil anything because I think everybody should read the series, watch the anime. It is breathtaking. It's phenomenal. I'll scream it from the rooftops. Like, I seriously adore this series so much. And like going and reading the lyrics translated and everything, it is haunting how crazy. Like, it's almost like whoever wrote this song like called, or like it's like how we were talking about like with us, like is like, did he like, does he know more about the story, like, you know, of One Piece? Like, this person, I feel like this person knew the ending like 7 years before the actual ending came to fruition in the manga, which is insanity.
That is insane to think about.
It translates to a wave on the mirror's surface, and it's talking about like a stagnant ocean with like, and there's only one wave that has ever came across it, and like how it disrupted like the harmony and the division between like the sky and the ocean. And it's like it's actually like, I can't get too much into it. I will get teared up. It's such a good song, and like lyrically it's a masterpiece.
I remember you showing me it, and I just remember being like entranced by the song, and like listening to every element that they put into each piece musically, how intricate the drums worked and how intricate it flowed through all the different instrumentations.
It's never I haven't seen any other songs that are written so meticulously and methodically about, like, it's not just like the sequencing of different notes and layering of different like instruments and things like that, and like the melodies building up, and like you can get like half of the melody like syncopated in this part and the other half in this part, and then later into the song they like overlay and you get the full revealed melody later down the line and things like it's actually like calculus. It's crazy, but it's not just about the melodies that are present and the notes that are hit, but like the actual like attention to detail, and then it's the notes that aren't hit in certain passages of the song. It is actually like there's full orchestration, and like I absolutely love this. It might be one of my it's either number 1 or number 2 favorite song of all time. And that's not even accounting for just like putting it through like the anime filter, you know, like it is such a perfect specimen of like what art can create.
I am not familiar. I've avoided everything the Lustrous related because it is in my read list and it's coming up. It's like I'm finishing Naruto, and that's what I'm reading next. So I've been trying to avoid anything pertaining to it, but I think I'm gonna have to give this song a listen and not look at any of the visuals.
No, there's no real spoilers in the visuals. Like like it's very cathartic, it's very lethargic, it's very ambiguous. So like I mean, knowing everything that I know, I could probably spot a few things in the visuals. You don't know shit, so it's not gonna mean anything to you other than like, wow, this is dark. It is very dark, I will say that, but I haven't seen anything do like the beauty in tragedy quite like this has in my entire life. It's phenomenal.
Beautifully said, brother. I'm excited to listen to it, if I'm honest. So initially I had planned on asking you guys your opinions on what makes an anime iconic, but I feel like we touched about that in the beginning. So before I give my final thoughts, because it wouldn't be a rambling addiction without Lucas getting the last say, what personally to you do you think is something that makes an anime opening stay with you?
Honestly, probably how much it relates to the anime itself, and just how much when I think about an anime, I think about that opening.
Yeah.
And that song.
It encapsulates the anime for you, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Vex, what about you?
I'm kind of on the opposite end of that same spectrum, where it's like when I hear a song that I love and adore so much that I'll listen to it even outside of the context of like, oh, this is an anime song or an anime opening, anime like outro or something like that. Like I really enjoy like the Land of the Lustrous anime, if you can't tell, and obviously the manga, but like that song really just struck a chord and like awakened a whole nother level of appreciation. And it's because we all kind of have like our different ways of interpreting the world around us, and for me music is the language that I digest the best. And like, so you can show me a beautiful story in movie form or in anime form, but giving me a message through a song is what I'm going to be able to resonate the hardest with, pun intended. And it's like, whenever I literally feel like these songs in my top 5 have each contributed to me loving the intellectual property more. So it's like, like they are something that I'll listen to stand alone, completely separate from the anime, but like there's always like that like connotation, you know, in my mind where I connect the two.
Yeah.
So if it's a song that I will completely choose to listen to of my own volition in my free time, then you've done something right, you know.
All right, I'm going to get into my final thoughts, guys. Before I do that, I want to thank both of you for coming on this week and doing the first ever Rambling Addiction live with me. This was a great time. It was such a vibe. If you are not subscribed to Reviews with Bro, do that. Hear all of Bro's spicy music takes. He's cooking up some really good videos. He's already got a couple out, I believe 4 now, right? Yep, 4 amazing reviews. Like I said, the last one was on Dream Theater's newest album, and from what he said, it sounds very interesting. I'm very excited to give it a listen here soon. Obviously, vexyz, you can find him on his own personal channel, and on The Eternal Dawn with me, Captain StrawHatLucas, where he is the head cook. This weekend we are doing a stream on the most what is it? I'm blanking right now. It's the off-screen moments stream. I remember that's what we're calling it.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're going to be going over all of those spicy off-screen moments throughout the series that we have not seen, such as the Ed War, maybe even dabble on the... Oh my goodness. I'm blanking again. I just had it in my head. It's about the yacht that Law and Blackbeard were on. Rocky Port incident. Thank you, Vex. I saw you light up. So,
you got there.
Are.
Yeah,
I did. Here we are. You guys are seeing how the sausage is made. So here we are. In closing, I think what makes an anime opening iconic is not only the way that it strikes a chord with you, but like vexyz had said, and like Bro had said multiple times in this live stream, something that resonates with you even outside of it, or something that resonates you so hard with you so much that you immediately associate that series with it. Not only that, but as vexyz had said, I'm a musician, Bro is a musician. It's something, music speaks to people on a different level. There's some people who don't listen to music the same way that I may listen to music, but I also may not listen to music the same way that they listen to music. So it is very subjective. So when a song from an anime breaks through that and that objective personal viewpoint, that's when an anime song becomes truly iconic. How you get your head shalas and your smile bombs. And I think that's what's beautiful about anime. So with that, I have been StrawHatLucas, captain of the Eternal Dawn, and more importantly than anything I said, or Bro said, or Vex said in this stream, I want everyone out there to have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.